And I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jan Faria, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paulini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready? Play.
Good morning, John. And to the surprise of nobody, learner Tien is off to a hot start and on track for a hold. I messaged the Talking Tennis community folks. There's a difference between getting taught and getting learned, and Alexander Zverev might very well find out the difference today. John, how the heck are you?
I'm all right. I'm curious and excited to learn about your excitedness for learner team in general. By the way, Zverev, those shoes are particularly bright.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you over the sound of those shoes and that shirt too.
Yeah, I know. Well, I've been watching this shirt throughout the clay court season, so I'm almost familiar. I just wasn't aware that he was going for matching shoes as well. Let's see if learner Tien can avoid that distraction. He's got a game point. Let's see how far our streams are apart. You're normally quite far ahead. So
In an effort to adjust and us to be on the same page in the booth and in the match, Zverev just hit a winner to force deuce, and I've delayed my stream a little bit.
On my Google, I've got on the Google score, I've got juice, and it is juice now on my TV too. But yes, I suspect that you have some. What's the word? You know, you like learner. You like watching learner. You like the learner journey.
Dare I say I love Lerner as the best sub 6 foot American lefty who spent time on the West Coast, turning pro before the age of 20, while also going to college since John McEnroe. Yeah, I think he's the real deal. I also think Americans typically struggle on clay. Obviously, there's a couple exceptions to that, but I think that he's got a game that's going to translate very well. He's not somebody who's going to wow you with his weapons. He's not going to have a serve like Shelton or Roddick. He's not going to have the biggest forehand you've ever seen. He wins with guile, touch, and savvy, and I think that's going to translate very well to the red clay. I look forward to seeing what this youngster can do. He's already gotten a win over Zverev in Acapulco, so he knows what it takes to compete at this level. And I just find his game really fun because of the variety. We got another deuce point here. John, are you as bullish on Tien as I am, or are you learner skeptical?
On the clay, I'm very much in the skeptical department. If this was on a slowish hardcore or hardcore of any nature, I would be more intrigued to see if Tien could repeat the heroics he pulled off in Acapulco that you so rightly highlighted. I just think that having watched Lerner up closely in Estoril, also having seen his results throughout the clay court season, it's a season or a part of the year to forget for Lerner thus far. If he was to win today, I think it would be the biggest shock of the French Open so far. I think it would probably eclipse the Fan Sarundo loss to Diallo yesterday, which I think would rank quite highly. Peyton Stearns losing as well, winning just 3 games in her opening round match against Evelise. I think they have been the sort of big surprises. Other people, the learner team is held. So my biggest concern is whether we get a competitive match, or not. By the way, you of course are in the US and you are up bright and early. You are an early bird. I know how these streams are, and it might be another hour or so before we get our North American viewers starting in the chat.
Especially the West Coasters. West Coasters might not be showing up today.
We might not get the West Coasters at all.
Yeah.
But we'll get the East Coasters and some of the other very early ones.
Really quickly, John. This was Clayler Fritz erasure. To me, the biggest upset of the tournament.
Yeah, but I saw that one coming.
Yeah,
I saw that one coming. This is not me being clairvoyant either. Yes, in terms of ranking, of course, I think he's probably the highest ranked person to fall thus far on both sides of the draw. But 2 things. First of all, 3 things. First of all, Altmaier Clay French Open is a beast. 2, Taylor Fritz is less of a beast. And 3, and probably most significantly, this has just come a bit too early for Taylor in terms of where he's at in his game and in his health. He probably needed a month of clean health on the red clay and then give the French Open a better crack, if you like. And so he was pretty much already circled. I would have gone as far as maybe close to a 50-50 before yesterday. And once Altmaier won the first set, I thought, yep, that's not that surprising for me.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's like we said earlier, Americans sometimes struggle on clay. Taylor Fritz has had some success here and there.
Yep.
You're right. It's on paper much more of a shock than it is in reality.
Yeah.
I did love the Clayler Fritz thing just because I thought it was funny. But it turns out it was just that amusing, not actually part of a broader trend. I mean, look, Lerner's spraying it a little bit here. Zverev's power and depth is something he's gonna have to contend with this whole match. You know, he's there. I don't think that he will be absolutely blown off the court. I think there will be quite a few forced errors, as there often are with Zverev on clay.
I'm not convinced he won't be blown off the court.
Okay.
Yeah, the one thing that might go in Lerner's favor is Zverev's form since the Australian Open.
Yeah,
is pretty wild. We're thinking of losses to Griekspoor, albeit a tight one in Indian Wells. Lost to Feast in Miami. Yes, he did win Munich, but then on the clay, losing to Cerundolo a couple of times in Rio and also in. He'll be pleased that Cerundolo's out.
Yes.
And also in Madrid, I think it was too. Rome, of course, defending champion, loses to Lorenzo Musetti. Some of these obviously are, better losses than others, if you like, but some of them were pretty early. So the loss to Cerundolo, was in Argentina. In Rio was Comisania, which I think goes into the sort of more disappointing loss category for Alexander. And yeah, I mean, okay, a Munich title, but everywhere else, he's not really even making the semis.
He's got a lot of damage, a lot of psychological damage that he's incurred over the years, and it's especially at the majors. I think it's why, in all seriousness, I don't believe that Tien is going to get blown off the court here, is because look, Zverev is not playing the other guy on the other side of the net. He's really playing against himself. He's got all the shots. Does he have the confidence? Does he have the trust? Does he have that voice in his head saying, "Oh no, not again, not another heartbreaking loss at a major"? We'll see. I will say, since that first hold, Tien has not looked good. 5 straight points for Zverev, most of which have come on forced or unforced errors from Tien, with the exception of an ace that did make him look like a teenager playing a pro, which is technically what is happening.
Indeed.
Tien doesn't turn 20 for another several months. I mean, he's a lot of upside with this youngster, whether he wins or not today.
Well, you'll be pleased to see that the poll, which does tend to be based on who they want to win rather than who they think will win, is at least 50-50 for now.
I mean, look, I'm a Tien homer, and I'm predicting a win, but if I was putting money on it, perhaps there would be a different pattern than what you're seeing here today. Hey, while Zverev has a real opportunity here at Love 30, John, a football show that's big in the States just come back on, and I have to represent it. Let's see. Here we go. Wrexham.
Yes.
Are you? I'm sure you're familiar.
Yes.
Delightful show for our American audience. Great way to kind of get yourself into football, soccer, as we might know it, for the casual fan.
So what's this football show you were saying?
Welcome to Wrexham. It's got.
Oh right, yes, I know it. Yes. Isn't it Netflix?
I think it's Hulu, but they all kind of blend together at this point.
Yeah.
Oh wow, look at this. Nice point from Tien there with the winner. Taking Zverev off the court.
I'm just going to show the Zverev outfit. We'll come to Wrexham in a second. This is the Zverev outfit. Now, it's mostly the shoes that took me by surprise, just because I have seen this, as I say, throughout the sort of Rome and Madrid season.
Yeah.
And I've seen pretty much every Adidas. In fact, he comes up against another Adidas player. Fortunately, Lerner Team is not. Maybe they've listened, because I've seen Lerner wear this shirt as well, actually.
Maybe.
Yeah, because it's so obvious and such a they're missing out on a huge marketing thing. Think in soccer, by the way, or football, as we were just referencing. I mean, they love the opportunity to change shirt. Sometimes they'll have 3 different shirts, 4 different shirts. They'll have an away shirt for Europe. They'll have, just because it's a way to sell shirts. But I remember Nike with Rafa. Certainly in the US, they would have a day shirt and a night shirt for Rafa, and it would be different. Again, sort of a marketing ploy to sell more shirts. And it just seems to be illogical to have 2 players wearing the same shirts. I see Tienne, and he's going to be at Deuce once more.
we see it in the States all the time. They'll do specialty nights as well. So they'll have like Star Wars jerseys. They'll have like Latin American night jerseys, all that kind of stuff. And so there's so much more they could do in tennis, but it's just really stuck in the past and not keeping up with other pro sports in its ability to market both with the clothing and on many, many other levels. I do like the all black kit from Lerner, though. It's it's a cool day, so heat's not really a consideration. It's a good look. Slimming as well.
I think, black, you're fine.
It's,
Carlos's outfit's been the subject of discussion. Has that landed in? I don't think it has. No, Zverev is going to point out
our first
mark
point, I believe, of the match.
Yeah.
Let's see how much Lerner can do to make me look good here.
I was pleased that Lerner got that first game. Let's say that.
What a serve, to the surprise of no one, John. Lerner fends off the break point. Ghost of Garolitis is in the chat, so I know it's about to get wacky.
Ghosty's early then. Ghosty, you've woken up early. Even by Ghosty's standards, which are pretty early. He's an early bird too, but yeah.
That slice up the tee on the deuce side for Tien. I mean, there's not a ton of pace behind it, but you can tell it's a deeply unpleasant ball for his opponent. It's to the backhand. It's hooking away from them. He varies the spin. Ooh, did Zverev miss that? I think he did.
I'm about to watch it myself. I think he did too, yeah. Yeah. In a very attacking position on the short ball there. You'd expect Alexander to make that. I guess there could have been a temptation to go to the other side where there was more space to aim at, but probably less likely to get the whip that he would have wanted.
Second serve, add in to stay on serve for Lerner Tien. Let's see what he does.
He gets to 2, I think. I'm pleased.
Oh, with the big winner up the line from Tien.
Well, there you go.
And the Lerner train keeps rolling, John. Here we go.
The poll remains at 50-50.
Yeah, let's manifest the Tien win. Okay, so here's the thing. I have a work call at 9. So I need to have happen is I need this to be either fast and over by then, or I need it to be at like, a tiebreaker in the second in a match that's going to go 5, so I can come back later.
Back. Yeah.
By the way, I think if Tien's going to win this, it's going to be in 4 or 5. There's just no world in which he's going to win 3 straight sets against the world number 3 on clay.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Lerner surprised me before, so part of why I'm so biased. One, like there's the American bias. By the way, we got the Pope. Look at us go. But there's I saw him play in Winston-Salem last year against Fabian Marozhin, and he won the first set, and everyone was kind of like, "Who's this kid?" Because he's so he's not a big guy. He doesn't hit it that hard. Marozhin won the second, and everyone kind of assumed, all right, well, that was a nice set for him, a confidence builder, but he's not actually going to win this thing now. And he just battled through a brutal third set that I believe went to a tiebreaker. And he really won me over with his mental toughness in that match against a very, very good player who's tough on hard courts in Marozhin.
Okay, fair enough. Just looking at some later scores. Cam Norrie is up 2-0 on Daniel Medvedev. Ethan Quinn lost the first set to Grigor Dimitrov. And Kovacevic and Gomez are very much into a dogfight at 1-all and 3-all in the third.
Medvedev.
Yeah.
God, he hates clay, and you know what? Might be another example of why. You think Norrie's going to close it out and get it done?
I am surprised to see that scoreline, having seen them just play each other in Rome and Medvedev comfortably winning, let's say. And I think it was straight sets, but it was always a case of when rather than if, having watched the match. It was like, when is Daniel going to break? And I've just seen Zverev dump a forehand into the net for 15-all.
Uncharacteristic. Yeah, that's the second in 2 games. And look, those are the kind of shots that if you miss when you should be making, sometimes you get surprised by an up-and-comer.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm so in the bag for Tien. I've got to dial it back. I just am so excited about this kid.
I'm pleased for it. Listen, if you this is the moment to be excited. This is when you need to be excited because in about 15 minutes when it's 4-5 to Zverev, and maybe even 25 minutes when it's a set and a break to Zverev, then I think you're going to sort of be looking back to Cam Norrie and Medvedev to see how they're getting on.
Ghosty's right. You can, when you watch him play, you get the sense that he loves the game. He loves being out there. There's a joy and a creativity to his game. And he's right.
Are you talking about Ghosty here or
talking about Tienne? But Ghosty pointed this out in the chat as Zverev serves here at 30-15. It's so hard to keep that when the numbers get as big as they get in tennis, with the grind of the tour schedule. And so let's see if he can continue. Oh, that's another bad miss, although this time it's from Tien. That's a shame. Zverev at 40-15. Yeah, the tennis grind is as tough as any professional sport out there. Maybe cycling. Cycling might be the other one that I think is a comparable grind.
I mean,
John, what do you think?
Yeah, the levels of fitness in cycling.
Yeah.
There's not much room for maneuver there, that's for sure, I think. I mean, those guys that are doing serial events, they're basically going to bed in pain.
And it's in a different hotel Airbnb every night, right? Because it's not they're cycling from big city to big city.
So I've got a poll out on Twitter that people went mad over, as in I can't believe you are even asking this stupid question. And yeah, I'm serious. That's what I think. I think I got 5 or 10 responses yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Oh no, it's good defense there from Zverev.
Yep.
I'll come back to this poll in a second. We've also got this is Wrexham discussed as well. 2-all, Zverev holds. Yeah, so listen, I think Swiatek is a warm to hot favorite. That's fair. But she was also in a very similar level of favoritism when it came up against her Naomi Osaka match last year. And that needed a match point save from Iga, and obviously turned out to be one of the matches of the year. Right. It's also topical, and we're going to probably do a watch along for it as well. So there's a million other reasons to do it. But I don't think it's if Raducanu wins, yes, it would be the standout result of this French Open so far. But it's not Robin Soderling beating Nadal. The way that
not, especially with the season that Iga's had.
Exactly.
It just hasn't been her year. And so I'm sure she's hoping to turn it around, and a comfortable win here, maybe it gives her a little confidence boost. But yeah, if it's even a little bit competitive, that's not a good sign for Iga.
No, I agree. I think the more seeds of doubt, I think even yesterday certainly wouldn't have alleviated any seeds of doubt, bearing in mind that Shramkova is somebody that I think she lost just 2 games to in Australia. And yet yesterday she found herself a breakdown in the second set. And Damien was of the belief that actually the scoreline very much flattered Iga, in that Iga was in a lot more danger than 6-3, 6-3 suggests.
How about that inside-out drop shot that Tien just attempted that ultimately led to a big forehand and him going up 30-love here to remain on serve and get to that pivotal third game, John, which many people were saying was going to be
elusive,
a tough point to get to.
And you're right. You're right, Ghosty, in terms of that, which is why, by the way, our poll as well has 58-42 here, because that's not a fair reflection.
That's a great line. The downside to democracy is the human heart. Is that a Ghosty original? That sounds like something that you'd read in a book.
I did not know that. There we go. RIP, of course, Robin Williams.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, so the grind, I'm unclear how long the season is, but I know it's the Grand Tours are the killers, right? And those are 2 to 3 week, 1,000+ mile events. And famously, the training schedule involves just sitting on a bike for a minimum of 4 to 6 hours a day. Plus, you have to do a lot of, you're constantly being tested and poked and prodded, both by doping authorities, but also by, the trainers and the scientists for the high level teams. Spend a bunch of money on that kind of thing.
Yeah. Alex de Minaur won the first 2 sets against Laszlo Zverev, but is down a break. In fact, Zverev is serving for the 3rd set, albeit is love 15 on his serve. Shevchenko is up 2 sets to love on Lajovic. They're actually into a 3rd set tiebreak, so that could be done any moment. Matches coming up shortly include Alexander Muller the Rio finalist up against the Miami Open champion Jakub Mensik. Many people have that as a 50-50. I have just leaned towards Mensik, but I understand those that were leaning towards the demon backhand of Muller. Basilashvili up against the Portuguese Rocha. Rocha in his first ever Grand Slam main draw after a pretty epic win in qualifying last week over the Frenchman. Who did he beat in qualifying? A Frenchman. I'm going to find out right now. I was watching it live. Oh, there's so many Rochas in the world. I need to go Rocha tennis. He beat Van Asch 7-5 in the third. That's why he was down a break. Actually, I remember in that. In fact, I think Van Asch was serving for it 30 love. So very close to defeat, but he's prevailed and he's in his first slam draw. For those of you wondering what the players are wearing, they are on the screen there. Learner Tien rocking the all black, whereas Zverev is going with a fluorescent yellow number that includes some pretty bright shoes. Other scores that are going on. I'm going to come to you in a moment, and I want to hear you mention a match or two or a result or two from the French Open so far, Zach, that has caught your eye. But before I come to you with your answer on that, I'm just going to bring you up to date as I was just showing you the Medvedev Norrie scoreline. Medvedev and Norrie are on serve in the third, but Norrie is up 2-0, which may well surprise a few of you. Any other latest scores that I need to bring you up to date with? Yes, Ethan Quinn and Dimitrov. It's 1-0 to the Bulgarian. Bublik is serving for the first set against Duckworth. Let's have a look over on the women's side. We've got Haddad Meyer and Baptiste are into a third set. And in fact, Baptiste is up a double break on the Brazilian. So
That's
be another
big surprise.
Yeah, could be another seed to fall, particularly as Haddad Meyer has been recovering some form lately. Kenin winning in straight sets. Mira Andreeva winning in straight sets. Vondrousova winning in straight sets. And the reason why I react like that is because she's barely played in recent months due to injury. She may, but with that win, set up a All-Wimbledon 2023 rematch with Ons Jabeur in the next round. So that would be, as I say, a Wimbledon final. Jabeur's going to be playing fresh, which will be coming up shortly on Court Simon. Mathieu Hibino beating Ushijima in an all-Japanese affair as well. And Azarenka double bailing Wickmeyer.
Azarenka,
yeah,
absolutely dominant. Really quickly, one thing that has jumped off the screen this match so far, Zverev is capable of getting easy holds. Tien is battling for every single service game, and it's admirable the way that he's holding on. But unless he can put more pressure on Zverev's serve, whether that's by changing up his return position, throwing a little bit more junk at him, something, he's just not going to be able to get this done. Or by generating some more free points on his serve. As somebody who's watched a lot of Learner Tien, he will not be generating that many more free points on his serve on clay. So he's just got to find a way to get that pressure on Zverev. John, you mentioned a couple results. I want to hear a couple results surprise me. Kekmanovic over Baez in 5. After Baez won the first two tough tiebreakers, Kekmanovic just decided to not go to tiebreakers anymore and won the next 3 sets. That's a really, really nice comeback. I'm a big Baez fan. I thought that he was going to make a deep run, or at least maybe potentially a second week run here. Clearly, I missed on that one. Clayler Fritz, I want to say I'm surprised, but I'm not going to lie to the good people of the talking tennis community. It's not that shocking. I was very impressed by Shapovalov's dominant performance against Martinez, 2-0-3. Shapovalov, okay, well done. Oh, look at this
I sort of looked at that through a different prism, let's just say. I said losing to Chapeau, no shame in that, but winning so few games for me, for Martinez, was, a surprise. I'm seeing Learner Tien, by the way. I was about to say push Alexander Zverev all over the court, but he's actually back into this rally. There was a nice drop shot from Learner on the previous point, by the way. So far, if he wins this next point, by the way, which I'm not sure he will, he's defending well, then it will be the most comfortable service game thus far. Long way from being done. What is that reaction to?
You'll see it. Tell me when you see
it. I think I'm about to see it. Not yet. Backhand cross court. Drop shot. Doesn't work.
Yep. I mean, that was a heck of a point of tennis. He did move him all over the court. If his plan is to wear down Zverev and tire him out, I don't know that it's a great plan, but, he moved him. He made him work for that, certainly. 30-15 Tien, trying to get up to 4-3, keep us on serve. I believe we've only had the one or maybe two break points here. So, he's going to deuce, but he's getting it done. That was a heck of a rally, John.
Was a heck of a rally, yeah.
Tien showing the variety, a slice forehand, a drop shot attempt or two, moving Zverev. And again, he can't just hit through him, but he's got great angles and really nice touch out there.
Regarding that Kecmanovic result, I'm not surprised that Misha won. I'm probably more surprised the manner of it. I'm not, and this might be me doing him a disservice. I'm not always the biggest trustee of Misha's ability to dig deep, which is obviously what he had to do in a very, very big way yesterday. I wonder if he's actually won from 2 sets down before. Maybe somebody in the live chat can tell me otherwise. Anyway, talking of digging deep, Learner Tien once again is going to have to do that on his own serve here.
Yes, indeed. There's one other result that I don't believe we've talked about as Tien serves to fend off a break point. Navarro. What the heck happened there?
Oh, yeah.
A bagel and a breadstick.
Yeah. And she was lucky. Honestly, she was a bit lucky to get that one game. It was to break serve.
Yeah.
She was down, I think, 6-love, 5-love, and she broke serve. And then she got broken again. Yeah.
Second serve here from Tien.
Yeah.
Break point. Nice out wide. Net cord. Oh no, and Lerner. Oh, he made a questionable choice. Not enough margin. Tanked it in the net. Got broken. And now Zverev is serving to solidify the break, because you know what they say, John. It's not a break unless you hold.
Unless you consolidate, indeed.
If we were putting money on it, I think Zverev's getting this hold. Lerner just hasn't been able to apply enough pressure to him.
Yep.
It did feel inevitable.
Good while it lasted. It was good while it lasted.
What a first 6 games. Some of the most electric 6 games I've ever seen, in fact.
25 minutes was on the clock, I think, when it was at 30 all. It's probably a little bit more than that now.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have got the break for Zverev at 28 minutes old. Yes, as I can see. Any other matches or results? Cerundolo losing in straight sets to Diallo, is a surprise. Peyton Stearns going out, but don't say it too loudly because Ghosty will get upset.
Shelton pulling it out against the Italian Sonego.
Yeah, that was a good match. I enjoyed that.
Surprising-ish. Is it a result you're going to look at and be like, wow, I can't believe it? No, but I did kind of do the old, good, good for Ben. Not his best. I enjoyed
that one as well. That was on the night session, I think, on the first night.
Oh yeah.
Sinner winning in straight sets, Alcaraz winning in straight sets. Sinner, of course, was down a double break in the third to Rinderknecht, and I don't think it'll be that painful for the Frenchman, because I still think that he probably thought, as the rest of us did, he's losing this, but well done for taking a set. But he did have a couple of points, really, that he probably should have won that would have made all the difference in that third set to have forced a fourth. Which, again, perhaps may be a concern for Jannik. But I think Jannik will get better as the tournament goes on.
Rinky Hijikata sometimes practices not too far away from where I live. Not often, but once or twice a year. And so, a few of the guys that I hit with, I've seen him play in person several times. I was rooting for him against Opelka. I just find Opelka's game so deeply unpleasant to watch, like basically anybody that's ever watched him, other than probably his mom. But he did manage to get the win.
First win for Riley at the French Open since 2021. I think it might be his first appearance, but certainly his first win. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, did you see the get up he had on his leg, by the way?
No, but I can imagine.
I mean, I don't know what's going on with his leg. You might know better than I do, but it's a pretty involved bandaging or taping there.
Okay, yeah. Gonna check it out. There's one or two guys wearing that stuff on their leg at the moment.
Very nice volley from Zverev on an admirable attempt from Tien. 15 all. Let's see what happens here. Talking tennis community. Does anybody think that Tien's gonna get this break? Because I'll tell you this, at least one of us does.
The bandaging. Now I'm looking at an image of Opelka.
Is it possible to pull this up on the screen? I think that it's pretty. Yeah, I've actually never seen a bandage like that on a tennis player or anybody who didn't have a broken leg before. So I don't know.
I mean, it looks like he's wounded.
Yes.
I know injured and wounded are pretty much synonyms, but you get my drift.
It looks like a shooter's sleeve almost more than or a cast. So hope he's okay. I don't enjoy his play style, but it would be a shame if after getting his first win at the French in some time, that gets in the way. If he loses, I hope it's because of his game, not because of his leg.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, so he beat Hijikata in round 1. Just trying to think of other sort of Kenin. I think Kenin. Let me just have a quick look at her. She won today in straight sets. She's going to be playing Azarenka next. I've actually got Kenin. I think I'm pretty sure I have her at least in the 3rd round. I'm going to see who she's due to play because that will remind me whether I've got that far. Norrie Medvedev still on serve, by the way. Norrie obviously having won the first 2 sets, but Medvedev will be keen to try and mount a comeback there.
There it goes from Lerner. Zverev holds, goes up 5-3 in the driver's seat in this first. You look at Tien and he's kind of got that look of, I'm throwing everything I've got at this guy right now, and everything feels harder than I'm used to it feeling on a tennis court. Zverev's a really tough player. I remain excited about the youngster. I think maybe he could pull a rabbit out of a hat and get it done here, but I recognize that people aren't betting on that. I wouldn't bet on that. He looks like he's having a tough time out there against a very, very good player, Alexander Zverev.
Zach, at the end of the first set, which could be in about 2 minutes, or it could be 5 or 10, or who knows, in tennis, I'm going to ask you your thoughts on one second round match. Okay, so I'm going to read out the second round matches. So try and put this in the Zach vault. So just to get
John,
your thoughts.
I'm sorry to cut you off here because I do want to get this. Watch this point. I cannot believe what I've just seen on a tennis court from Alexander Zverev at Love 15.
Okay.
That is a remarkable shot.
Oh, wow. What a return.
Truly remarkable shot. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
That's going to be on every highlight reel in the tournament. That's going to be Sports
I think
Center
it's around the
top 10.
post, right?
It tips the post.
He's pushed out so far wide. It's a really good serve from Lerner, to be fair.
Yeah.
Oh, it hits the post. Bloody hell, yeah.
Yes. Is that the shot of the tournament so far? By the way,
it gains from the post in that it gains that it becomes a more peculiar and even less frequent occurrence by clipping the post. But also, does it not take away from the quality of it? Because he's actually kind of made a mistake, if that makes sense. Anyway, listen, Love 40. He's still smiling about the previous point. Love 40. So we've got 3 set points. I'm going to talk us through this. You will already know probably what's happened. It's going to be a second serve for Alexander Zverev to look at on the Lerner Tien serve, which, as we all know, is pretty attackable, even on the first serve. And it's a double fault. Alexander Zverev gets over the line, 6-3. He wins that first set. I'll come to the stats from this first set when they appear on my screen, and I will let you know what they are. But the most important stat of all is 6-3. Alexander Zverev winning it in 33 minutes. I do think that, as I say, will probably be as good as it gets for Lerner. We'll come to the stats shortly, but I want to come back to that question for you, Zach. So I'm going to quickly go through these matches. Keep one in the vault.
Okay.
Because then we're going to come back to Tien Zverev and see what the state of play is there in terms of stats and maybe even how the second set begins. And then at some point in the next 5 minutes, we'll do a little bit of a Zach tells us why he's excited or why he particularly likes the upcoming second round clash. Now, Jannik Sinner, Gasquet, Lehecka, Davidovich for Keen. I'm putting these on the screen as well, as you can see. Yep. Muna da Fils. These are all obviously on the men's side. Diallo, Griegsbourg. We'll stick with the men for now. We might come to some women's matches shortly as well. But Fernley, Humbert, Chapeau against Misolic. Musetti, Galan, Opelka, Navoni, Halis, Kecmanovic, Nava, Holger Rune, Tiafo, Carreño Busta, Brooksby, Korda, All-American affair, Juan Manuel Cerundolo up against Medjedovic, Kopriva against, and I think I've mispronounced that, but I'll do my best, Kopriva against Altmaier, Casper Ruud against Nuno Borges, Tabillo, who won a good 5-setter yesterday, against Popperin, Hachinov, Offner, Futrovic, Paul, Shelton, Gaston, Gigante, Tsitsipas. I keep saying this as though and I am now coming to the end. Pechi Pergrad, Jamur, and Marajan against Carlos Alcaraz. Now,
so many good ones.
Yeah. Going to get the stats for Zverev against Lerner Tien. Where are you, my friend?
Whilst you're pulling that up, can
Okay.
I just say, and I don't think this is the match that you're gonna bring up, Gasquet Sinner.
Okay.
If Gasquet can get a set in what, and I believe it will be his last French Open, the crowd will be going absolutely bananas. And I think that, is he going to win the match? Like Ghosty says, it would surprise me. Anything is possible. You know, that's the beauty of tennis and the world we live in. But I think Gasquet might steal a set. And I think it would be a little bit like when Isner stole a set against Federer at the U.S. Open in like 2011 or whenever that was. Nobody really thought he was going to win, but it was a special moment for the audience. The crowd got really into it. Winning a set would be a huge deal. I think that could happen, and I'd like to see it.
Are you a tennis romantic?
A little bit, I think. I mean, also, like, look, there's not money on the line. So say the thing that you want to see happen within the realm of semi-realistic, right? Like, I'd love to see Lerner steal a set here today.
The head-to-head between Yannick and Gasquet is not great reading. It's 3-0 for Richard. I'm more concerned that it's going to be like how many games Richard wins, partly because I saw his match yesterday against Atmane, and Atmane was dreadful. I know he did have some physical issues.
Yeah.
His fellow Frenchman in the fourth, I think it was. But I have no idea how someone can play that badly, to be honest with you. Richard is Richard's a phenomenally talented player, but he didn't have to pull out too many of the stops to win that. So yeah, and I saw some people being even more critical of Atmane's performance on social media yesterday. I know Jose Mercado described it as pathetic, for example.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a weird one. Now, I know I think he may have had some cramps in the fourth, but this was gone before that. And he was dumping forehands into the net, and he was getting more and more frustrated. I know that Vance was also highlighting his attitude in San Diego earlier on this year at Manny. So he is a volatile figure.
Yeah.
Richard was there to pick up the pieces. Great to see him get a win, especially on Philippe Chatrier. I'm sure this match against Yannick Sinner will also be on Philippe Chatrier. But Yannick, in terms of him, as I said before, I think he's going to get better as the tournament goes on. And I think we are looking at a scenario of please don't be too embarrassing for Richard.
It seems more likely than not. But, hey, it's France. It's the French
Richard
Open.
has won a set. He has won a set against Yannick in Halle 2 years ago on the grass. The last time they met on clay was actually a year ago at exactly the same stage, funny enough, round of 64. And Yannick won that 4-2 and 4.
10 games.
That's probably where I see this at, maybe even worse for Richard. I think Yannick is going to get better, and Richard... Yeah, I mean, also during yesterday's match, he was puffing a bit. He often does puff. Even in his 20s, he was still puffing. But yesterday, I was thinking, Richard, you can't let this one go to 5. Well, fortunately, Atmane just disappeared in that fourth set. So that helped his case. And
let's imagine the over-under was 9.5 games for Gasquet.
Right.
Over-under. What you got?
Probably under.
Oh, yeah. Okay. 8.5.
Because if he's serving second in the first set, for example, that's probably a 6-3 or better. Now, of course, there will be other sets when he may well serve first, but yeah, I can see him. I can see him struggling to break Yannick. I don't know if he'll break Yannick at all when Yannick serves well, even on a slow French bruising play.
There's another match that I'm excited for that we haven't mentioned as Tien looks to get on the board here. Shelton Gaston. That could be a fun one. Shelton likes to get into it with the crowd a little bit, and I think that he will have ample opportunities to against a French player.
Yeah, Ben is also, a guy can leak sets, and obviously on this surface is probably not his best surface, although I do think he's got better with every clay season. I remember seeing him in Estoril in 2023. I think Ben said it was his first time in Europe, which I found quite surprising to hear, bearing in mind his father was a professional tennis player. But he's made it come on leaps and bounds since that loss to Dominic Thiem in Portugal. And I really enjoyed his match against Lorenzo Sonego that we already highlighted. I thought that was one of the more fun matches that we've had this week. Gaston, the Frenchman, playing obviously on home turf, will get the home crowd support. That could be an interesting dynamic. I agree with you there, Zach, especially bearing in mind where Ben is at as a showman and everything else.
Yeah. Look at this serve that you're about to see here.
All
From
right.
Tien. Here we go. At 30-15, yeah?
Yeah, I'm watching it. 30-15. Oh, down the tee. There you go. The surfbot learner team. Bring it up 30-15.
Oh, that's funny,
These
but it's
guys-
so mean.
Yeah, these guys also have met at Roland Garros as well. And that was a year ago, albeit in the first round. And Ben lost the first set, but went on to win it in 4. Who you got winning it, Gaston or Shelton?
I've got Shelton, but
Yeah.
to your point, no one would be surprised if Gaston pulls it off. I want to see him kind of really, really utilize that big kick some more on clay. I think he's got the game to have success on clay. I think he moves pretty well. The kick serve is lethal. Does he have the patience to succeed on clay? I hope so. I don't know so though.
Right.
What's your read on Shelton?
No, I'm semi big on him for a career where I know 1 or 2 people doubt me when I say, listen, this boy's winning a slam or 2. And I'm, I'm not here predicting a French Open title amongst those 1 or 2 Grand Slams, but I am here for some decent clay results, which have already begun this year with a final in Munich. That's the kind of clay season, kind of clay court career I foresee for Ben. And again, we talk about over and under. If he goes in his career more further than a quarterfinal at a French Open, I think you can go tick. That's probably better than most people would have predicted. If he wins a couple of clay court titles, even at the 250 level, again, I think you'd go tick. So yeah, listen, Hubie Hurkacz can win a 250 and make the final of another. I think Ben Shelton can at least match that.
I think that's a good comp. I think that's a fair comp for Shelton on clay. Zverev continuing to just cruise along on his serve. He's up to 40 love, and Tien looks like he's able to battle on his serve. He's looking overmatched on Zverev's serve, and you'll see in a moment here when Zverev closes this out. He's just not getting any depth on the return. He doesn't seem like he's getting a solid racket on it enough on the return. And there's just no real opportunity to put pressure on Zverev. And I don't know what Tien can do to change that. And that's got to be one of the hardest moments as a professional. He's top 70 in the world. He is one of the 70 best people at tennis alive. And there's just no adjustment for him to make. I mean, I guess he could stand on the baseline and try and get wacky with it, maybe chip at it and put Zverev in uncomfortable positions. But against Zverev's serve, I just don't think that's viable. And with Tien playing that far back, he's not able to get the pace or the depth on it that he needs. Truly, I don't know. I don't know what more Tien could do here against Zverev's serve, but I'd like to see him try something new, which is much easier said than done.
Indeed. Tien here serving at 1-2. I'm now going to read out some of the women's matches that we'll have coming up in the next day or two. These are all, of course, second rounders. I don't want to talk about Raducanu, Iga Swiatek, not because I don't enjoy talking about that match and that up-to-kind matchup, but I think between us on the Talking Tennis crew, including that social media post, I think we've probably spoken about it very much in depth. We've done about half an hour all together yesterday. In fact, there's a 15 or 20-minute video that's been cobbled together on the Talking Tennis channel. You can see previewing that exact match.
Let's do another hour. Why not? Come on, let's get wild.
It's actually 15 minutes, but it was probably there was some trimming involved there as well. There is even, by the way, in that video, it's not just various members of the Talking. You've got 5 different people there talking. There's also a little, like 2 or 3 minutes at the end of Iga herself talking in Stuttgart last year, but after a win on clay against Emma, just talking about Emma's game and some of the things that surprise her and trouble her. So do check out that video and watch it to the end so you catch the tail end of that to hear Iga's thoughts on what Emma can do on a tennis court and also on a clay court in particular.
John, I'm going to try and get our streams a little more synced up here because Tien is, he's trying some different looks for Zverev here.
Nice drop shot there.
Very saucy, and I think, is he gonna win this match?
Only 10 seconds apart, by the way, maybe 15.
Oh, the ball kid just wiped out. There's one to look out for. It's not a match until a ball kid wipes out. Not a clay court match, at least, until a ball kid wipes out. John, you've got a question in the chat from Dan Davenport. What did you think about Fritz going out yesterday?
Dan, thank you for the question. I did touch on this earlier, but I'm more than happy to refresh these thoughts because I'm sure some of you have just joined us. Dan, didn't surprise me a lot. Altmaier is well known for his French Open prowess. I think that may even be his third top 10 win on the Parisian dirt. That, of course, included an epic win over Yannick Sinner that made our matches of the year list in 2023. And I can remember him falling to the dirt and pretty much in tears after that win, which may well go down as Daniel's biggest and greatest win of his career, and it may well remain that way. But I don't put the Taylor Fritz win in the same category because I just don't think it surprised me that much. Taylor has had a really injury hit year. I think he's suffering from that probably as much as anything else. And yeah, I did. It's not like I said the word clairvoyant earlier. It's not like I made the prediction of the century to say, listen, I think Taylor should be on upset alert, because I think many of us saw that one coming. That was a wild first serve there from Lerner Tien.
You know, Zverev is playing a little bit like he's on cruise control here. He's a little loose with some of the shots. He's spraying a little bit in this set, and it seems like he can get away with it. But you never really want to stay in that zone for too long on a tennis court. You don't want to let your opponent hang in there.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, in some ways, Zverev is letting Tien. I think you know, John, to your point earlier, a result that he should be aiming for is like 2-1 and 2. What you don't want to see is 6-4 or 7-5 lose a set, because the longer Tien hangs in there, the more confidence he's going to gain, and also the more the voices are going to start going in Zverev's head of not again at a major.
I just think that Zverev is probably not going to be in danger of that. I think what what could happen if Lerner was to really do some damage in this match, i.e. win a set, I think it could be something that you just sort of began that spiel with, in terms of, you can drift. You can, I hold serve, he holds serve, pretty comfortable. And you can just lose that concentration. It's not just for tennis. I think most sports you can have this, but perhaps maybe tennis more than others, where you're not really focused. You're just thinking, okay, I'm okay here. I'll get a break point opportunity soon. In a way, you often find this when you go love 40 on your opponent's serve.
Yes.
You go, don't worry, I'm okay. The next point, for example, that's a terrible drop shot from Zverev, but you're gonna get punished. Yes, he is. You go love 40 on your opponent's serve, and your fans at home are pumped, and they're like, get this done on the next point, because they would. But you yourself, not that I have any fans at home watching me on TV, I know, but you yourself are like going, okay, I've got 3 chances here, and I may even get more than 3, because even get back to deuce, you still feel as though you've got a great chance. So you can drift through that first one and maybe even the second one as well. It's when it gets to 30-40, you're like, oh no, please don't waste this third chance. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Zverev then on the following point, just with the effortless put away. Let's see if Tien can apply a little pressure here as Zverev serves at 30-15 on a second serve. John, while we're waiting, Dan has another question for you.
I think Dan is from the UK, by the way. His questions tend to be, although Taylor was less so, his questions tend to be UK order. No, I'm not going to Wimbledon this year. The last Wimbledon I did was I did back-to-back Wimbledons in 22 and 23. But no, I'm not doing it this year.
There's a question that's all over the internet, John, and it's one that I want to get into with you momentarily after this point here. Great defense from Tien. Just think about what that question might be. Just building some suspense.
Right, I'm watching this point that you're probably a few seconds ahead of me on. I'm watching a forehand from Zverev, pretty much touched the baseline. Wow, Alexander. Ooh, he's not won the point yet. Not won the point yet, because Tien has defended so well.
Oh yeah, great defense.
Yeah. Forehand from Zverev. Drop shot from. Wow. Lerner Tien, take a bow. 3 or 4 drop shots from him today have been excellent. I think it's a good tactic with Zverev. I mean, he is someone who does play very deep. On that occasion, it wasn't just the fact that Alexander was so deep, it was the fact he'd been pushed around the court for the previous couple of shots. But listen, if Tien's got that in his locker, he's absolutely right to use it,
I think Zverev doesn't move that well north-south. I think he's great on the baseline.
Okay.
He's missed a couple of approach shots. I think it's because his movement is not as good in that direction. So, John, we've got a break point here at 2-all.
Wow. I will talk us through that when I get to it.
Perfect.
I'm just seeing the previous one at 30-all. I'm seeing a forehand dumped into the net from Zverev. And if he was drifting before, I think he'll have woken up right now to try and save this break point. 51 minutes on the clock. I see him bouncing the ball, just looking a face of concern there. That's a very different face to the face he was showing after he hit that return winner that clipped the post earlier, which, as you say, will probably make the highlights reel, certainly at the end of the day, maybe even the end of the tournament regarding that return of serve. But anyway, 30-40, first serve clips the net and goes long. And Alexander Zverev's first serve stats this time last year were phenomenal. He was getting about 80% in, I think, across the tour. Something phenomenal. That was wild, yeah. Which, bearing in mind how powerful his serve is, can tell you why he had such a good 2024 in so many respects. Forehand return from Lerner, backhand from Alexander Zverev. Of course, he is facing a lefty in the form of Lerner Tien, and now Lerner's going to be on the forehand. It's a loopy forehand. Alex, though, is really being pretty aggressive on the backhand here, which, considering he's facing a break point, is admirable. But he's being less aggressive on the forehand. They're pretty loopy. Both players here just winding it up a little bit. What a forehand winner that is! To say break point from Alexander Zverev, getting the applause of the crowd and his father in particular to get to deuce.
Get some great points out here. The question, though, John, of the moment, of the day, is will Talking Tennis get press passes for the Winston-Salem Open where they could have a man on the ground? People, inquiring minds, have been asking this for months. Do you know? Do you have an answer for the people?
We can try, but the process for accreditation is so random. You know, I remember the year before or last year, we got Miami and Indian Wells back to back.
Oh,
and
wow.
we didn't get a 250 in Birmingham.
England or Alabama?
England, sorry, yeah. So, yeah, it's wild. It's wild. We can try. I mean, we don't need to worry about it right now, but in June, July, pretty much when the accreditation process opens up, we can talk about it then.
I just want you to know, John, I was going to make a dumb Peaky Blinders joke, but then I didn't because that's growth.
Peaky Blinders. Do you know what? I've barely watched Peaky Blinders.
It is the only thing that I know about Birmingham, England, and that is true for basically every American who's watched Peaky Blinders.
Putting Birmingham on the map.
Yeah. Zverev able to get the hold there. But hey, Tien making him work for it. And you know what? That's great. That's super. That's progress from the first set too.
Dan is often asking me about there's two people on TV in the UK. I mean, Sue Barker's now retired, by the way, but she's actually a former player. And I think what's her big? I don't think she won the French Open. She might have been in the final. Let me just check. Sue Barker, French Open. She won it. Yeah, she won the 1976 French Open. Wow. So yeah, she's somebody on TV in the UK. And there is another person he asked me about. Somebody who's probably not as good, let's say. There's another person who works on TV in the UK. Anyway, whatever. And he's saying, oh, you need to get them on. And Dan, the thing is, Sue is retired. She's probably less gettable than most people as well. So I think Sue Barker on Talking. There's many people that people say, oh, you should try and get this person on Talking Tennis. And I'm like, yeah, I'll give it a go and we'll see what we can do. Sue, I'm afraid, might be unattainable. But if I ever bump into her and she wants to have a quick 2-minute chat, then I'd be delighted to do so. And it'd be great to reminisce with Sue both about her TV and French Open.
You know, John, Ghost is in the chat talking about narrative control and that the tennis establishment won't let anyone in who might even nominally challenge the status quo. Do you agree with Ghost that you, and by extension we, are being silenced by the frightened tennis media that is afraid of disruption that the Talking Tennis community might bring to the table?
I think that he's onto something. Yes. I think it's more a case of how brave we would be. I've already spoken about this with Ben Rothenberg earlier on this year, is that whether we would or not is because, you know, I've been in press conferences and been afraid to ask questions. For example, I've been in press conferences where they've been shut down. We saw how the US Open press conference with Jannik Sinner began last year. And fortunately, Mary Carrillo, who's very much safe in terms of where she is at in the media. In terms of, she said, "Hey, no, you don't do that." You know, there was somebody asked a question about obviously the recent drug ban. The recent exposure of the drug test that Yannick Sinner had recently. Well, he failed it in the March of last year, and this was in September. So it was 6 months obviously before it came out, and it came up at the beginning. Fair enough, came up. Yannick, by the way, was more than happy to deal with those questions. It was a moderator that was keen to shut it down. And so, yeah, there is a huge element of that. And then do you know what the Masons are, Zach?
Yes, like the Freemasons?
Right, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very much, I compare it to the Masons, very much a Mason scenario when it comes to the media. And I'm sure this is not, in fact, I know it's not tennis alone, where everyone's kind of looking after each other, but they also will know that they're getting the cherries and they're getting the questions and they're also getting the accreditations. So you've got this kind of masonry scenario that is actually a lot easier to demonstrate in tennis.
Yeah,
because it's sort of pretty blatant. I can
wait. Are we about to go down some conspiracy theory rabbit holes with the Masons? Because like 14 or 15 American presidents have been Masons, and so there's
I didn't know that.
Actually,
I mean, regarding the Masons, there's also been some great documentaries out on very what's the word? Mainstream.
Go off.
Mainstream stuff. No. I mean, there's some great documentaries on the Masons and kind of how, let's say, dodgy it is as an institution.
There's a great British miniseries called The Gold, and that's sort of one of the recurring.
That might be one of the ones I've seen. I think one of the ones I saw was on Netflix a couple of years ago.
Yeah, this was a scripted show about the Brinks Mat heist and kind of how basically the people that ultimately are charged and get arrested and in trouble are the working class, career criminals, but the people who profit off of it and get away scot-free are the white collar criminals, the high profile lawyers and Masons and that kind of stuff. And it's, a really great show about the intersection of class, politics, religion, and, maybe some dodgy groups that exist.
Just watching de Minaur Jamur and de Minaur Gera. De Minaur gets over the line eventually in straight sets, but he was made to work in that third set. He was actually 5-3 down with Gera serving for that. As I can see, Gera, nice guy he is, by the way, Leslo, but he does give the net. It was a tap more than a whack. It's fine, well within the realms of decency that. But obviously he'll be disappointed at losing that third set and ultimately the match to Alex de Minaur, who progresses. That's enough on the sort of tennis media for now. I to be honest with you, that's enough, really. I mean, but regarding other realms, I'm aware of it within, and as I say, these are just realms that I'm familiar with within German politics. I know a girl I studied at uni with. She did a whole thing on how the media kind of looks after each other and how journalists will retweet each other, even from fellow newspapers that are supposed rivals, but just to sort of keep them all very much in the loop. Just watching Zverev here serve at 3-all, and I think that's a double fault. So he's love 30 down.
Well. Tien making him work for every service game here in the second set, except for the first one or two. But this is the second in a row that he's at least had to think. And that is a meaningful improvement over the first set. John, what do you see from Lerner out there that he's doing differently that's allowing him to apply just a little bit more pressure on Zverev's serve?
Two things, just regarding the match as a whole, not necessarily specifically the Zverev serve, but two things. Well, three things, actually. I'd be interested to know the number of, actually, I could find it out pretty quickly, the percentage of first serves that Zverev is getting in as he wins the next point for 15. Here we go. So let's see what percentage of first serves he is getting in. 72. So still very, very good. Obviously not reaching the heights of 80, but it just felt like he was missing a few first serves in the last couple of games. So that certainly helped Lerner. Of course, Lerner had a break point on the previous sort of serve. The drop shots, as I say, have been timely and well produced and extremely well executed from Lerner, taking advantage of Zverev's deep return position. And I think Zverev is a long way off his 2024 form right now, as he does just get back to 30-all.
I think that the extra junk that Tien's throwing at him and the drop shots, he's trying to make it ugly tennis. He's moving Zverev pretty well. The thing that I'm not seeing that I think that he has to do if he's actually going to get in this, he's got to get more depth on his serve return. He's leaving it inside the service line more often than not, and that's just not going to get it done. So that return at 30 all, that's something that he can work with and he can build a point around, But the previous couple points, it just wasn't deep enough.
Fair enough.
And here we go. We got another break point coming up.
Yeah, we have, because Zverev has erred, because actually Lerner was not pushing Zverev far enough back with some of those previous shots. But
yeah,
if he's going to get gifts like that, then no big deal.
John, I think that the people need a call on this break point here. You want to take it away?
It was exactly the same 30-40 previous game. Zverev saved it with an unbelievable forehand winner. And so I'm going for Zverev to hold. Yeah, and he has saved it. Zverev getting broken in this match, in the entire match, is, similar to sort of Sinner Gasquet levels, I think. Like, in terms of how likely I think Sinner is to get broken. At probably the next changeover, which could be any moment, I'm going to get your thoughts on a women's match, a women's second round match of your choice that you would like to share your words of wisdom on. I'm going to have a look at those matches now. Medvedev won the third set, and he's up 5-love in the fourth. So basically, they're going 5.
You know what Taylor Fritz says? You never want to beat a guy 6-0 because then they got nothing to lose that next set. It can't get worse than that. So if you're Medvedev, you probably want to tank that game and win 6-1, maybe even 6-2.
Well, we'll see.
And you know what? We've got another break point coming up here, John.
Yeah.
Team, the world beat. Look, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen right now.
Go on.
And at about 9 o'clock Eastern, in 1 hour, I have to leave for my work call. It's going to be probably 5-4 in the third at that point, with Tien having won the second.
Ooh.
And then I'm going to get done with it around 10 a.m. And you'll still be on here, and Ghost will still be on here trying to get us in trouble talking politics on a tennis YouTube channel. And some more American viewers are going to be on here because the people are going to know that Lerner's going to get it done. This thing is going 5, and Tien is getting the win. And when this prediction proves correct, clip it, because the people need to know that clairvoyant Tchaikovsky was on one today. It's going to happen. You heard it here first on Talking Tennis. The people said it in the poll. Maybe it's because they don't like Zverev, kind of for good reason. Take the kind of out of it. I would argue for good reason. But Tien is going to get the win. You can feel the momentum shifting as Zverev, all throughout that rant, defended a break point, and now it's in the driver's seat.
I know. Yeah, I was thinking the same. Yeah. Yeah. I think it was a loose return of serve on the break point from.
Oh, goodness gracious. That's the kind of miss that's going to stick with you. Zverev with a very sloppy overhead.
Oh, yeah. The smash.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know. He hit the wrong part of the racket. Wasn't the middle part of the let's have a look. See if he does it even touch the frame. Not sure. That's inconclusive. But anyway, he hits it long, and that's the most important thing. And yeah, he's annoyed about that one. It's going to be a third break point for Lerner Tien. Now, the third break point just in this game alone, did have another one in the previous game that was saved by Zverev with a forehand winner. Let's see where Zverev goes with this one. The first serve lands in. Let's see how aggressive he is on this one.
Oh, Lerner.
Okay, Lerner's messed up. Yeah. Backhand into the net there from Lerner. Normally, he'll stay in those rallies quite easily, so that'll be disappointing for the American.
I'm pausing to try and get synced up here because I think we've had it at various points synced up, but mine appears to be just a split second faster. Shout out to Google Fiber. Kind of a scary corporation, but very fast Wi-Fi, and I appreciate that. And Super Dave is here in Austin, so I believe that's 7 a.m. Dave time. Dave, welcome to the chat. Do you want to join the chorus of voices clamoring for a Tien win? Let's see. Dave's a coach, so he's got some credibility to protect. I don't think he's just making
Indeed.
stuff up like that. But, maybe he sees something out there. I mean, Tien is making Zverev work for every single point here. The way that he's playing, I just really find admirable. Look at this point. My goodness.
The defense from Lerner is insane, but it's not quite enough in the end. But
he's gritty. He's tough. I mean, that was the thing that struck me so much watching him in person, but also watching him in Australia. He doesn't really get too high or too low. He's got poise that is unusual for a 19-year-old. He's able to, it's seemingly a shark-like memory. He just moves on. He doesn't seem to dwell on points. He doesn't get down on himself.
Sharks have short memory, do they?
I think it's the metaphors because they just have to be swimming. I think they can't swim backwards. They can only swim forward. And so in the States, at least, that's become a saying.
Zverev holds with a smash. One that didn't work before, but Lerner Tien has now seen 4 break points come and go in the previous 2 games, and they really did come and go in very different fashions. So there will be some regrets there for Lerner. But anyway, yes. So the women's draw for the second round, or at least the ones that have been established so far. I'm going to read these out to you, and I want you to choose one, and I want to hear your thoughts on it for a couple of minutes. Okay. Sabalenka, Teichmann, Collins, Danilovic, Towson, Rus, Golubic, Anisimova, Schneider, Yastremska, Romero, Gormas, Samsonova, Lis, Mboko, Arango, Zheng, Paulini, Tomjanovic, Starodubtseva, Potapova.
Put a little extra mustard on that one, John. I like that. What was that name one more time? Was it Star?
Okay, let's try again. It is probably one of the more tricky ones for sure. Starodubtseva.
Oh, yeah. Starodubtseva.
There you go. Yeah. I think you might not want that. I hope you don't choose that one for thoughts. And if only for the fact that neither of us have to say her name over and over. Anyway, Beckett, Pera, Bondar, Svitolina, Rybakina, Jovic, Dolheider, Ostapenko, Balic against Christian Raducanu-Swiatek. But I don't want your Raducanu-Swiatek thoughts. I mean, you can give them to me separately, but I was
going to mess with you and just be like,
anyone's talking choose about it, but I want another match in addition.
Yeah. Swiatek, Raducanu. Has anybody covered that yet? Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling.
Kazakhina, Jean. Go back to the beginning of the stream if you want to know why Zach is teasing me about that. Kazakhina, Jean, Rusa against Badosa. And have we got any others established? Keys against Bolter, Azarenka, Kenin. Okay, 2 is Australian Open champions, I think. There in that situation. Baptista, Hibino, Montgomery, Busas, Monero, Krajcikova, Kudermetova, Veronica. That is Cocheretto against Alexandrova, and that is what we have established so far on the women's side in the second round. Which one of those matches would you like to share the thoughts of Zach on?
Keep scrolling up to the very top there.
Is it Collins, Danilovic?
Oh, scroll down a little bit more. Whoopsies, little more. Schneider, Yastremska. I am a huge Schneider fan. I make time to watch her doubles matches with Andreeva. I love her game. Her style to me is so fun to watch. She spent some time in the Triangle and in the Raleigh, North Carolina area near where I live. She's a lefty. She's expressive. I think Yastremska, there's a little, there's a little bit of a little bit of beef there because of the countries they're coming from as well. So I think that'll be a really, really great match. I think Schneider's going to get it done. I wouldn't be shocked if it goes 3. I just think it doesn't even matter who Schneider's playing. It's worth watching the match. Big fan of her. John, I'm curious, other than Raducanu-Swiatek, what's the match that you're most looking forward to?
I will just tell you in a second. I'm just going to get the Diana Schneider head-to-head with Yastremska, because right now I have absolutely no idea what that is. I can tell you now it is, just a second. Come on, Yastremska. This WTA website is so cumbersome.
While you're pulling that up, Lerner Tien just hit one of the most beautiful up the line backhand slices that I've ever seen. And then proceeded to lose the point because Zverev is a really, really tough player. We have 2 break points coming up here.
Those break points that came and went. We'll do this very quickly. Just have a quick look. It's 1-0 for Schneider, and Schneider won that one comfortably on the grass in Bad Homburg last year, 2-2. I'm like you. I do see Schneider winning this, but probably also in 3. Yep. Back to the present, though, rather than the future. Let's see how Zverev gets on with these break points. Well, the first one has been saved with a nice deft touch from Lerner Tien at the net. But one down, one to go.
So I do have to offer a quick correction for the headgear for Snyder. I believe that's just a bandana, like roller skaters used to wear in the 90s. It's a good look. And, you know, the last player I saw consistently wearing that, I think, was Arnaud Clément, who would also wear the sunglasses during daytime matches.
Mm-hmm.
An absolute French Open nightmare. You don't want to see Arnaud Clément with the sunglasses and the bandana at the French Open. Even still, he might be able to come in and steal a set with the crowd energy.
Oh, Lerner. I think it was the right shot, but it was poorly executed.
He sprayed it. He
That
sprayed
drop
it.
shot. Yeah. And Lerner having those break points across the previous 2 games, 4 of them, 3 of them coming in the last game alone, and then you don't take them, and Zverev is punishing him here.
That's tough. That's tough. John, I want to make sure that we're synced up here. What's happening on your screen?
5-3 now.
5-3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. That's tough. I mean, look, Tien is there. He's having moments, not consistently enough for this to really get excited about. And yet, John, I think I can find a way because I just am that much of a fan of his game.
I was actually a little bit further behind than normal because something had happened. It had obviously been a glitch on my stream and it went sort of 15, 20 seconds behind. I'm now at 15 love Zverev.
Yes, also there, just a smooth backhand up the line from Zverev, passing Tien.
Yeah.
Not much you can do there.
I mean, Tien was a sitting duck there, wasn't he, really?
Yeah.
1 hour, 12 minutes on the clock. Zverev about to serve. It'll be his first serve for this particular point. Where's he going to go? He is going to go to the backhand of Lerner Tien. I was about to say forehand because I was thinking of a righty opponent, but Lerner's certainly not that. And Lerner with the slice has gone long there. He's lamenting that, and I understand why, because a slice that goes long is particularly painful. 30 love, 2 points away from winning the first set. I posited that it would be a straight sets win for Zverev and that he wouldn't get broken the whole match. Well, he has come close.
Tien is having a sloppy game right now. And I think that he's showing his frustration physically, you know, with his body language, with his reactions for the first time in the match. I think the thing that I expect from him, though, is to come out in set 3, new set, new mindset, new mentality, and give it the old college try again. Let's see if he proves me right on that, because I can't imagine that we'll be in set number 2 for more than another minute.
The 9 o'clock meeting, and in terms of this match being at its conclusion, is possible, maybe even probable. If we have an average length of set for the next set, like we've got sort of 1 hour, 15 minutes for the first 2 sets, then we should just about be there. That's a Lerner Tien winning a point with a passing shot. Lovely angle there.
You know, that's how he hits winners, right? Again, it's not super explosive. It's just guile and touch and savvy.
Yeah.
He's kind of got an old man game. And I don't mean that in a negative way. He just like, you know, it's dated almost.
Ghosty, my slice. It's all right because, like, compared to the average amateur, I'd say it's all right. It's probably above average, actually, which other parts of my game would certainly be below average. The problem, of course, that I do have is it can be too floaty, as I see Zverev seal the set to 15, so it is 6-3, 6-3. So yeah, my slice, Dave. Yeah, the issue is certainly potent opponents are not going to be scared of it, but it is a decent shot I can use to reset the rally, perhaps, or give myself a little breather as I'm being pushed left and right. It's okay. I say compared to the average amateur, it's all right. What about your slice, Zach? Are you slicing at all? I mean, some people barely slice, of course.
Can I brag for a moment? Can I be immodest? My slice is looking good right now.
Okay.
My game is really, really in form. I played 2 tournaments this month. And I got to the finals in doubles in Wilmington, which is an L4 tournament. Happy with that result. I didn't play very well in the finals in doubles, since that was a shame, and I feel like I let my partner down. But I won in singles. It's a big tournament in my state, and now am the number 3 by points for in TRP 4-5 player in the Southern region, and so just trying to get myself up to a 5-0, which is about a UTR 8. But right now I'm like a 7-4-8. And just trying to get there. But the game feels good. I'm playing as well as I have as an adult.
Zach, also, I have about an understanding of about 20% of what you just said.
Okay. The American rating system is silly.
I know, but there's 2 or 3 elements I am familiar with. One is that you said something about 5-0, which I think is basically as high as you can go in terms of a score, if you like, for an amateur, right? Is that right? 5-0?
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically anyone 5-5 is like a Division 1 caliber player. 5-0, you get the low end D1 guys who are a little bit older. You get some good D2 and D3 players who are adults and all that stuff.
But I've also seen clips of you. And I know it's just a few clips, but it was more than enough to be aware of your prowess on a tennis court. And we often have chats because we're all spread all over the world, and so few of us have played and will probably ever play each other. So these conversations could well be going on into our 80s as to who would be the best member of the Tournament Talk Tennis community. But you would certainly be in the conversation, in the mix. And who knows if those clips are anything go by. Basically the other one that springs to mind is Vanch, because of some of the players he's played from the main tour. I always forget who
Fergus plays at university, and so I've got to imagine that he's up there. However, he's 19. His brain isn't fully formed, so maybe he can steal a few points by just doing weird, annoying
he's also
stuff.
quite new to the sport, I think. I don't know. I mean, he's obviously a good sportsman and stuff, and I don't know how many years he's been playing for. That doesn't mean that he hasn't hit the ground running, but he's not. Yeah. He's not the first person that springs to mind. It's you and Vanch that spring to mind, and I've played Damien a couple of times. I've not taken a set off him, but they've all been pretty competitive. So we played each other in Estoril about 3 weeks ago, for example, and he won 7. I'm going to say 7-5, 7-6. So that'll tell you just how close that was.
Tell me you saw that lob.
Oh, woo! That lob from Lerner Tien, 40 love.
Wow. Over the 6'6" Zverev, right inside the line. Tien wins by making it ugly. He kind of has a natural instinct for the old man tennis, but he's got to play, ultra elderly man tennis. Puts Zverev in weird spots. He can sit and rip rally balls all day with the absolute best in the world. But, throw in the droppers and the lobs, a lot of slice, get a couple weird bounces on clay. Anything could happen.
Right. Zach, how are you feeling about 2 or 3 minutes on your own?
Hey, I can. I'm a chatterbox. My coffee is mostly kicked in. It's still a bit early, but I got this.
I'm going to get some coffee. So maximum 5 minutes, but probably 3 or 4. Just keep him entertained, live chat people, and fingers crossed the tennis can be equally entertaining.
Folks, it's just us. The adult supervision is gone. Lerner Tien is up in the 3rd. Zverev is desperately going to try and stay on serve. We'll see what he does here. Do we think the Tien can steal this set? Hearing reports that yes. Personally, that's where I think it's going to go. I know that I'm such a homer for him that I'm not even going to try and be objective. I just like his game too much. I also think it's so easy to root against Zverev, and I'm happy to do it whenever I get the chance. I'm looking at the result from Tien, and it hasn't felt particularly close really at any point. But you do see the foundation that he can build on. If he can add just a little bit more pop to the serve, if he can get a little bit more depth on the returns, he's got the mind to be a high level player. It seems, if he can handle the grind of the tour. I mean, look, he's been battling every single second. There was at the end of the second set, maybe a 6.2 game stretch where he sort of let himself slip, go elsewhere. But he's been battling throughout, and I just can't speak highly enough about the mindset that he's bringing to the table here. Zverev up 15 love. Now up 30 love with the commanding forehand. Somewhere between up the line and inside out there. Really good either way, whatever you call it. What can you do? These things happen. That's something that I see on at the pro level. When a guy just hits a shot that's too good, rips a winner against you, you don't see a ton of frustration from their opponent because they are just used to being able to say, too good, nothing I could have done. At the amateur level, you'll see guys get frustrated sometime, and most of the time that's dumb. If somebody's going for a winner at the amateur level, it's probably a low percentage shot, especially if it's like not really in the flow of the point. Zverev serving 40 love. Come on, Lerner, make him work here. Great return from Tien. Drop shot to Zverev's backhand. Counter drop shot. Tien scrambles. Gets there, so it's not a winner. Doesn't make the shot. 1-1. And here we go. Ooh, Dave with a great point in the chat that Zverev seems confident against players he thinks he should beat. Does he think he should beat Tien is the question. I think in this very moment, the answer is yes. But I think if Tien steals a set, is making him play ugly, I could see it shifting pretty quickly, especially knowing that Tien, look, Zverev's never beaten him before. Tien has 1-0 against him. Different surface, I get it. Zverev with a sloppy return. It's funny, for a guy who's up 6-3, 6-3, Zverev is still able to look like he's having a bad time out there. And I know that Tien has had moments like that, but, it's been a tough match for him, and he's keeping his head high, staying into it. I think if this is based on solely what's between the ears, Tien wins pretty comfortably. Zverev has some physical gifts that he doesn't. It's height supremacy in action. It's absolutely disgusting. 6'6". What do you need all that for? The angle is so different for his serve. Maybe Dave can confirm this. I've always heard that players, once you hit about 6'4", that's when the angle typically on the serve changes and you're really able to hit down on the ball. And that's when height becomes, a true advantage. Not that, if I was 6'2", would my serve be better than it is at 5'10"? Yeah, it probably would be. But 6'4" is kind of, that's when the angle is such that it's like a cheat code. So then you think about the guys like Opelka. That's how they're able to be serve bots. But Zverev, he's serve bot height. Tien having a relatively stress-free service game so far. 40-15.
What have I missed?
I referred to Zverev and his game as height supremacy. I hope that doesn't get us in trouble.
No, listen. The things you can refer to Zverev as, that is the least. That's going to get us in any trouble. I was going to say to you just before I left, but didn't, and then it didn't matter in the end. Couple of pro-ish tips or a couple of YouTube live commentary tips. If you have no idea what to say, there's always a clock somewhere. So, for example, you go 1 hour, 24 minutes on the clock.
I like that.
2:15 local time or as well. That's sort of what it's funny because I always think whenever I say this, Zverev bouncing the ball, I always think then if you say bouncing the ball, it sounds like you don't know what to say. So you're just saying something. Whereas if you go 1 hour, 24 minutes on the clock, 2:15 local time, you also don't know what to say, but you're saying something.
Oh, I like this.
It's 2:15 in Paris, isn't it? Of course, he's bouncing the ball. We all know that if he's about to serve. But there's something for some reason it just sounds a bit more like, oh, a good little bit of insight there. So local time in Paris.
We should not do this right now, probably. But I would like to know how long we could just use tropes without saying anything.
Listen, some people have made a career out of that. So
could we do two full games, one full side change of nothing but tropes?
I love it. I feel inside an anxiety which is, I guess, a suggestion that I actually don't always just use. No, we can try it. I feel an anxiety because I'm excited and I think I could do it, but it's one of those ones with when you do that test to see how anxious you are and how steady you are, it's almost like that. It's like you could and should be able to do it, but we can try.
Okay.
When the ball starts bouncing for the next for this learner Alexander Zverev service game. In fact, I'm about to see the German world number 3. Do you like that start? Not bad. Just
taking an extra moment before serving here, bouncing that ball.
Big server, of course. We all know that.
Zverev winning 50% of his second serve points.
Yeah.
An hour 26 under.
What time is it locally? What time is it locally?
8:22 a.m. on the East Coast, 7:22 Central Time, where Dave is.
And West Coast?
5:23 a.m. on the West Coast.
Oh, we've just clicked over another minute.
Let's not engage in mountain time erasure, where it's 6:23 now.
And of course, in local time in Paris, which is what, of course, you all want to know, it's 23 minutes past 2.
We're watching on HBO Max in the States, also available on TNT Sports.
And of course, we all know a match of tennis is all about which player can play better than the other and ultimately win more points. And yet, you can still lose a tennis match having won more points than your opponent.
Anything can happen out there, John.
Oh, for sure. And it usually does.
That's why we love sport. And you know what? This won't be the last match of the day. I'll tell you that much.
No. And we've got plenty of drama to come. Matches with other players coming up against each other from all different parts of the world.
And, I think that it's important to remind people that this isn't the first year of this tournament either. So not only are we watching it this year, but we will, in all likelihood, be watching it again next year.
And I tell you what, we will also be seeing next year, and for many years beyond that, is the footprint of Rafa Nadal. And I mean that as both a metaphor and also quite literally on that center court, or I should call it Philippe Chatrier.
So important to note that clay is a different surface than some of the other options available.
Absolutely. And that's one of the beauties of this sport, that we have these different surfaces. You don't get that in football, for example. They don't lock up at a certain stage, although football in so many ways does have similarities with tennis, both involving balls and both involving people. I should have looked up the definition of a trope, by the way. I hope I've not varied off too much.
No, I mean, that was spectacular. I can't believe that you held that for a whole game. I mean, literally not a single. What it really is, it's the trope's one thing, but it's like you see these commentators that go hours without saying a single useful or an insightful thing. And I don't know that we hit nothing but tropes. We certainly got there at the
the nonsense. Yeah, the absolutely just giving you nothing. Yeah. And it almost became fun.
It was kind of fun.
Golf has won the first set as she gets her French Open campaign up and running. I think there is the French Open title win for Golf at some point in her career. And something that was concerning me about that possibility in previous years was the form of Iga Swiatek, as in like probably 80% of the French Opens for probably this decade are going to go the way of Iga. But right now, this might be one of those that don't, given her form.
We had a bunch of lefty tropes that we could have touched on. Famously, John, there are fewer.
We're going to do 2 games, so let's go with the rest of this game. It's love 30 here on the learner serve. And what was it you wanted to say? Some nuggets about lefties, Zach?
A thing that you have to remember, John, is that the left hand is different than the right hand. So your right hand, it goes from this way to that way. Your left hand, it goes from this way to that way, and it's different. There are fewer of them on tour.
So many of our audience won't be aware of that as well, which is why we get these sort of insights on Talking Tennis.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Now, of course, Zverev himself is a right-handed player.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. And he's taller than Tien as well, I believe. Yes,
he is taller than Tien by some distance as well.
Huh. John, when's the last time that you were measured?
Oof, that's a good question. I recall it at school. Which is a period of my life many years ago. And I mean sort of junior school and primary school. So that will be between the ages of 5 and 16 in the UK. It is similar in other countries across Europe, but I do believe in the US, you know, things change for you in terms of the way you term these things. So we talk about high school as in being 11 to 16, but for you guys, it's 16 to 18, which if you're not aware, is actually older than 11 to 16.
It's so true. You know, the tagline for the sponsor BNP Barry Boss is the bank changing the world. And I think it's important to note they don't say in what direction. Could go either way. Changing it for the better.
Would if the CEO was a lefty or a righty, perhaps that would have an influence on his decision whether he wants to go left or right. And of course,
so true.
Something you mentioned earlier, which we shouldn't mention now if we're going to just give you irrelevant stuff, is Zverev's ability to go forward and backwards. But as you and I both know, but not everyone will be aware, forwards is mostly in that direction, and
right.
Is that way.
You know, Zverev has just hit the ball not in the court. John, it's always my preference to hit it in the court. And as the coach, you have to imagine that he's thinking that if they show a shot of the box here.
Yeah, great of you to give us an insight into the tennis minds, both on the court and off the court there. That's what you want to be doing. You want to be keeping the ball on the court. You want to be aiming the ball somewhere within the lines of the service line when you're serving.
Well, sometimes you want to aim outside the lines with the spin, because if you aim for one place, you know, mentally, maybe it'll end up another.
This is good. That's beyond. That's insight.
Shit. Sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, it's hard. It's you know, it's
interesting because actually that is a really interesting point.
Well, yeah. So okay. So now I've broken.
We're done. It's good. We did basically 2 games. If Zverev had got this done to love, we'd have done 2 games, no problem.
I can't believe he held off 3 break points while we were doing this nonsense. Well done by Tien. So actually, in all seriousness, his slice serve, which is overwhelmingly what he hits, I'm sure that he is aiming, you know, on the deuce side. He's probably aiming for the outside of the box to Zverev's forehand, because he comes around it so viciously. He's got to have a huge margin there.
Yeah.
And now he's got a game point. The youngster battling.
Yeah. On the turn serve.
That is fun. I think if the goal, rather than just tropes, although that would be like he's a grinder.
Yeah, just nonsense. By the way, there's 2 or 3 things we still haven't spoken about. One is that I think you asked me for a women's match tomorrow, which basically the conclusion of this game will address. The other one is I still haven't spoken to you about Wrexham, or This Is Wrexham. Something like the third thing I want to speak to you about, which I can tell you very quickly, is if you're not sure, you know, what to talk about as well, during a Grand Slam or any, you know, tournament with lots of matches going on at the same time, so 1000s as well, there's always like, let's have a quick look to see what scores are going on elsewhere. And that's a good 5 minutes just seeing what else is going on. And if something crazy is going on, then you can even talk about it at length. But so that's the sort of 2 or 3 things. The time on the clock and the local time is sort of the building of the tension. But what's going on around the grounds is a favorite of mine anyway, personally, just because I'm thinking, what the hell is going on? Oh my goodness me. Medvedev, who was down 2 sets to love, is now into a 5th set, you know?
Wow. Tien with a good hold there. Looky, Lerner up in the 3rd. Maybe in the driver's seat. Could be. Hey, there's one other thing that we have to talk about, a piece of UK culture that I've referenced a couple times on the show as well as on my own podcast. A musical act who I find to be quite talented, albeit at times misguided. Kneecap. Naughty Boys. I knew they were naughty boys, but didn't know they were get charged with terrorism, naughty boys.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've never heard of Kneecap, sorry.
They're an Irish rap group. There's a DJ and two young guys that rap, and they take a shot or two at the Brits, and there's a.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll have to pick it out.
So I guess they said some things at a concert, and then again at a concert, and then got charged with terrorism, or maybe attempt to incite terrorism. I don't know.
I'll have to check that out and gather my thoughts on that.
It's interesting though.
Tell me.
So the UK has obviously different laws around speech than the US. And so what they said in the UK, very, very bad. You shouldn't encourage people to do the things that they encourage people to do to people, especially if they're elected officials. Don't do that. But you are kind of allowed to in the US. Like they in all likelihood would not have been charged with any, really with anything if they'd said the exact same thing here and were citizens here. But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, John. If they'd made the same statements abroad, could they still be charged in the UK with attempting to incite terrorism or whatever they were?
Listen, I haven't lived in the UK for the best part of 20 years, but this is a recurring theme. Let's say that, that people are getting in trouble for social media posts, for example. And I have questions and concerns about about free speech, but probably best for a different podcast.
sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. Certainly, I'm more than happy to share my thoughts in a bar. But yeah. I mean, I'll say this: I want to let as much go as possible. That doesn't mean I think that there isn't a line, but I'd like to let go as much as possible. As crazy as someone's beliefs and mindset is, I would rather look at the root of that, rather than nip it in the bud, because actually you tend not to nip it in the bud. Here's a very, very brief example. In Spain, for example, they had a thing at the end of the 70s called the Pact of Forgetting. This was basically where we're not going to talk about the Civil War anymore. We're not going to learn about it. We're just going to just leave everything as it is. In fact, the different political groups upon this Pact of Forgetting said it was café para todos. In other words, coffee for everyone, because all left, right, and centers were in agreement that we're just going to move on from this, and we're not going to talk about it, but we're not going to do anything about it. So what you do is the problem doesn't disappear. It just simmers under the surface for the next 3 or 4 decades, and every now and again still does come to the surface, and will continue to do so, especially if you want to try and suppress it, which in a way you are. What is it I wanted to get? Oh yeah, Daniel Collins head to head.
That's a very smooth transition, John, to Daniel Collins.
Yeah. As smooth as something not very smooth at all. Daniel Collins, Danilovic head to head is what I wanted to get, because that is the match that I would like to talk about. Zverev is looking pretty comfortable on his serve right now, but if anything happens, I will let you know. But yes, Danilovic, because they played each other at the French Open last year in a pretty classic encounter. Their head-to-head is 1 each. And one of those wins for Danilovic, I'm pretty sure, was at the French Open last year. Indeed, it was 6-4 in the third. The other one was a 3-setter as well on the Madrid clay. So they had back-to-back matches on the clay last year that were just absolute classics, that Daniel Collins does find herself embroiled in quite often. And maybe embroiled is the wrong word, because it's actually a praiseworthy note that she ends up being involved in some pretty meaty and exciting matches. And yes, I'm very much looking forward to this encounter. I think Daniel Collins is not quite playing the same tennis that she was a year ago. However, that win over Iga Swiatek, maybe fills us with a bit more confidence that she can replicate some of that form on the dirt in Paris. She beat Burrage maybe a little bit closer than some people might have thought. I think Burrage actually was threatening to win maybe the first set. So that was 7-6, 6-4 her win. Danilovic, though, on the other hand, looked very, very impressive in her straight sets win over Leylah Fernandez. Leylah just not quite rabbit in headlights, but was certainly a long way off, let's say that. But that's also primarily down to Danilovic's prowess. So I'm really looking forward to that match, and maybe even more than any other match in the next round.
What a point. The gets by Lerner Tien just to be down love 15 on his serve at 3-all.
There was a net cord. There was all sorts of dinking and cat and mouse there as well. Just phenomenal. Great athleticism as well. And one final thing on this, I'm going to go for a Danilovic win. I think probably in 3 sets again.
I've got Collins, but I could see how one might talk himself into Danilovic in the same way one might talk himself into Zverev winning over Tien here today. Although, if Tien gets over the 3 hump, if he gets to 4-3, anything could happen. I've got a whole
things
bag of tropes now from earlier.
Things that
by the way.
have happened include a Baptista 3-set win over Hadeb Maya. Sofia Kenin has won in straight sets to set up a second-round clash with Victoria Azarenka. That's obviously an all-Australian Open title-winning affair, with Azarenka winning with a double bagel against Wickmeyer. Vondrousova, a former French Open finalist, winning in straight sets today, and Zverev as well, which is the match that preceded this one on Susan Longwan. And Hibino winning the all-Japanese affair against Ushijima 6-1, 7-5. Some later scores to share with you. Avanesian, not quite friend of the show status, but she has been interviewed on Talking Tennis 2 years ago. Which
wait. If she's not friend of the show, is she like neutral of the show? Is she friendly of the show?
She's someone who's been on the show, and I'm sure would dearly love more than getting to the French Open second round. Would love to be in that friend of the show status, but she'll have to wait for that one, and she may have to wait another 12 months to reach the French Open second round because she is down a set and a break to Kalinina. Paquet
Guest of the show.
Guest of the show. There we go. Nice expression. Paquet won the first set over Valentova. Goff is up a set and a break on Gadetsky. And a friend of the show, Susan Layman's, is in action on serve against the American Kruger.
It's incredible how far wide Tien is taking Zverev on his serve on the ad side.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to tell you, Tien is just throwing a lot at Zverev, and he's fired up to get that hold there. He's gotten over the hump. It's 4-3.
There you go.
At this point, I think you've got to say it's his match to lose with Tien, right?
It's a turning point, no doubt about it, yeah.
It's unquestionably. I wouldn't question it.
Long way back for Zverev now.
I'm getting an advertisement for the lottery, by the way, which, sorry, I'll come off it, which should be illegal, though.
If somebody was not paying any attention to us or just tuned in and didn't see the score and just heard me say long way back for Zverev now, they would be going, what? And rubbing their eyes, especially early morning US, to see that and then go, oh, I see. Okay, either this guy is joking or it doesn't understand the rules of tennis.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, there are far better analysts in the talking tennis community than me. Like I'm not ashamed to admit it. There are far better folks at calling the points themselves. So, I feel like when I get on, I got to get a little wacky with it. I got to bring the fun, a little silliness to tennis, which, by the way, we need more of, in my opinion, in my biased opinion.
Talking of wackiness and silliness, Alexander Bublik is serving for the match against Duckworth. He won the first set 6-2, second set 6-4, and has a match point. Actually, one match point has come and gone, but he's so close to the finish line, it'd be very difficult to imagine Bublik recovering. But who was it I saw yesterday was serving for the match and then needed a tie break to get through? I can't remember. I just remember thinking, okay, well, it was O'Connell breaking back against somebody. Oh, but Duckworth has saved 2 match points. We'll come back to this match. We'll come back to this match in 2 hours, and Bublik is out.
That is one of the highest net chords I've ever seen on that Zverev first serve attempt.
Oh wow, yes.
You'll have a second first serve here. Big point for Tien. Wants to get off to a hot start this game. Wants to keep the momentum going. Gonna leave it all on the court here.
Second serve. You know what I love, which is a real quirk, Zach, on that topic, is a good fault return. What do I mean? I mean the guys hit the ball long, but I have hit the ball back to them with equal amounts of venom, and it's now come on the line for a winner. That doesn't count, of course, because it's a fault. But it's just like, just let my opponent know I can return his big serves, and even when they don't even land in.
Yeah, I always will say good rep. As in, like, I meant to do it, and that's now, like, prepared me for the next point a little bit better. And I don't know if it actually has, but the guys that just catch the ball on their racket or just kind of let it go by, I don't get that. I want to be in rhythm.
Let it go by, especially if it's let's say you could just hit the ball back kind of scenario. It's kind of annoying when you've got 4 balls on the court.
Totally. Wait. Hold on. Do you play with 4 balls at a time?
Yeah. Why would you play with more?
Wait, no. So how do you get to 4 balls? Do you have 4 ball cans?
Yeah, 4 ball cans. Yeah.
Come on.
You have 3 ball cans?
Yes.
I have seen the 3 ball cans and just looked at them in a sort of weird way. Yeah.
Hold on. Is that like a German thing? Is that a European thing?
No, I think it's European. I think so. And I've played a lot more tennis I've played tennis in Spain and Portugal and Germany. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're all. I do occasionally see these 3 ball ones, and then first of all, I look at them in a weird way, like, what the hell are you talking about? A bit like I do with Americans sometimes.
You know what's crazy, by the way?
Go on.
In the chat, Ghosty is asking if my grandma was involved in the Enigma code, and a normal answer to that would be no. The actual answer is it's unclear.
Okay.
Just kind of a fun fact.
Unclear is good. Unclear means
kind of a fun fact.
Yeah. I don't even know what the Enigma code is.
She did code stuff during World War II that I will probably never know actually what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was the idea of the decoding, at least.
Back to the 4-ball thing. That's an amazing, fascinating cultural difference. Frequently, if you hit a ball over the fence, whether a shank or an overhead that you pop in the court and then on over, then you're down to 2 balls, and it's a nightmare. I wish that we had 4-ball cans.
Not enough. 4 is lovely. 4, you're every now and again you sort of say to you, and Bublik is over the line. With 4, every now and again you say to the other person on the other side of the net, have you got a ball? Have you got because you don't know what's going on. Here's little things that I don't do on myself, but this is not rules. This is just how I feel comfortable, right? I will on this return. I will never have a ball in my pocket on return.
Really?
Yeah, I don't.
You don't want that extra weight, or what?
I don't know. I just don't like it. I don't know. I don't want it. I also will not have a ball in my pocket for a second serve. I could easily have 3 balls. I could have 1 in each pocket, for example, and serve with the 3rd ball, for example. Or I could also have a second serve with 1 ball still in the pocket. No, I will always tap. So when let's say the ball comes. So I've hit the first serve. It's coming back, but it's landed out, and my serve has landed out. And I'll see that ball and I'll just tap it away.
There's a saying popularized by the movie character Gordon Gekko in the film Wall Street. Greed is good. I think there's an adaptation of that. More is more. Always have the extra ball in my pocket. Okay. I'm a 3-ball guy. Proudly, unequivocally a 3-ball man.
This is not superstitious or anything like that. It's just I don't know, just a habit, comfort, whatever. Don't know.
Hey, so speaking of the balls, as Zverev is up love 30 here on Tien's return, which is scary for any learner stands like me.
And it's also on cue in terms of you've probably got 2 or 3 games left.
Following the pattern. So there's been a lot of chatter about the quality of balls at tennis tournaments, and I'm curious, both John, for you and for the chat, do you feel like the balls have less durability these days? And do you believe there's any truth behind what some of the players are saying about the ball caliber at tournaments? Ooh, as it's love 40 here, then Zverev has a chance to really get himself back in the match.
I have quite a lot of thoughts on this, actually, and most of them are not necessarily in agreement with the players that have been complaining. I mean, if anyone's seen this clip at Wimbledon from about 25 years of, I can't remember who it was, but it was a very comedic, it might have been Jimmy Connors even, I don't remember, but he basically holds the tennis ball like this, because he's like, what's going on with this ball? It's so funny. But the ball is obviously fluffed up so much.
Yeah.
So the balls are, for sure, they must be better than they've ever been before. They are getting hit probably harder than they've ever been hit before.
Yeah.
As I see Tien save 1 of the break points. Regarding the differences, well, if you said to the players, listen, we have sponsorship deals. So here's the deal. Do you want to earn less prize money and we have a main 1 ball across the tour? Or do you want to keep the tour as it is and you complain about the balls? I know which option that they're going for.
Yeah.
So on top of that, professionals will say, John, but you don't play professionally, and they're absolutely right. And that's always an argument you can hold. But listen, the injuries that are being picked up left, right, and center across the tour are far more about the amount of tennis that we're asking these players to play than the ball's changing. As we see Zverev get the break, and he will serve for the match.
Sad.
Go on.
Did Zverev just look at his phone? He is.
Oh,
wow. You don't see that very often where they look at their phone on the changeover.
Changeover. Oh, they're going to go to a commercial break, so I'm not going to see it.
I mean, I'm looking at him drinking a Gatorade, right? Or Perrier orange, and his phone is right there. Zverev, an iPhone guy, kind of would have thought he was an Android guy, derogatory. But I've never seen that before, I don't think. Have you ever seen a player tap on their phone during a changeover?
Not during a match, no, unless he's getting some stats or something he wants to know. I don't know.
Are they allowed to? I mean, look, John, I think they have to disqualify Zverev for that. There's what choice do they have but to DQ him? I mean, this is a controversy. Wow, they're actually calling it phone gate already.
If we come back from this commercial break, as I see Carlos Alcaraz promoting some sun cream, then I see him getting disqualified. That will be the biggest. Certainly the biggest shock I think tennis we've seen since the Djokovic incident with the line judge.
Okay.
Which, funny enough, he must have been thinking about yesterday. He was asked a nice question at in press about whether he prefers electronic line calling or having the line judges. And he spoke about the tradition and the pros and the cons. And I think he basically went for the electronic line calling in the end. Yeah. But it didn't seem to be a big concern of his, but he did favor that. But he said one of the reasons is obviously on court can get a bit congested, and you can run into people, I think is what he was saying, and having so many people on the court. And that is something, obviously, with electronic line calling, we don't have to worry about. But he must have also been thinking about, and also if you just, whack a ball in a particular direction with electronic line calling, there's a lot less chance that that's going to hit someone. So,
Jake Davies has a question of how has the match been? Serving difference pretty substantial in this matchup. I think that pretty much covers it. I mean, Zverev has far more power and depth on his shots. Tien, to his credit, I think does have some more variety, but he just doesn't have the weapons Zverev does, and he hardly got a single easy hold, whereas Zverev got many of them throughout. John, is that about right?
It has gone in many ways as I expected. One thing I would say is that I think that Tien will have one or two regrets about some of those break points.
Oh.
Because I think he could have pushed this to 4. And and then who knows?
Yeah.
Zverev, by the way, another thing I would add to someone who's not really watched match to match, if you're concerned, if you're a Zverev fan and you're concerned about his form, I don't think that today's match has alleviated some of those concerns because I have seen some points that I think very much need to be ironed out if Zverev is going to be a threat at this tournament.
3 match points for the German-Russian Alexander Zverev against the people's champion, international icon, beloved young player, Lerner Tien. Here's the first serve. It's big. Tien's forehand. We've got a forehand up the winner from Zverev to take us home. Yeah, he was too good. I mean, yeah, right. Like Zverev, I'd say probably played his B- game today, more or less cruise control. Never really seemed to have to work that hard. Again, I think that there's the framework of a multi-time major winning game to Tien there. I think anybody who watched this match would agree. John, would you concur?
Yeah, I would indeed. Well, your meeting is safe.
Yep.
You can go into that meeting and think and have dreams of Lerner Tien on the grass and see how that pans out. I'm interested to know. I still think that we're basically Lerner's probably for maybe a few more years yet going to be just thinking about the hard court season and thankful that that's sort of 7, 8, 9 months. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if his variety, for example, on stuff can convert to a successful grass court career.
Yep.
But it is Sasha Zverev who proceeds into the second round. Any final thoughts on this or any other stuff been going on? I want to see. I think Medvedev has actually turned that around and 1 in 5.
Wow. So I'm going to make a comp here, and I want you to just.
Oh no, he's not done it yet. No, it's 5-all in the fifth. My goodness.
Ooh. Should we pop over for the last?
I'm gonna stay live and watch the rest of Medvedev Norrie for sure.
So, tell me if this comp sounds right to you. Lerner Tien's upside is Corentin Moutet with a good head on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Do we like the comp?
I do, and I can see where it's coming from in terms of variety, maybe lack of power. I can see, of course, Learner Tien, very different character to Mute. I just find that with Mute as well, if we forget about all the charades and stuff like that, there is an extra sort of, not bizarreness, but a bit of zest or something to some of his shots and his game that probably Lerner is one dial down on. But I can see the comparisons, and especially the comparison where they are mentally.
So I love Mute. I love watching him play. I love the head cases, and I in my head I just kind of assumed his nickname was the Little Magician because it felt so right. And so I actually looked this up the other day. Who owns that nickname? And it's been used a couple times over the years. The Magician, less so the Little Magician. I think that should be his nickname, like officially on the tour, is the Little Magician. It's every single match there is magic. There's also a little bit of crazy that comes out.
Oh,
and I have a soft spot for that.
Cam Norrie should be winning that point. So it's 5-all. I love the Little Magician thing, by the way. And I would that's actually very close to where I would be in terms of another sort of slight difference. He's a bit more magical than like right now than Learner Tien. Yes, Tien's athleticism. Yes, the variety. Yes, some of the deftness and some of the drop shots that we saw today, for example, from Lerner, are there. It's just that sort of, that's a funny point to win in a kind of improbable manner that I think probably applies to Mute a bit more often. Medvedev will be slightly disappointed to have gone wide with that one there. So Norrie here at 5-all, 15-all. Remember Norrie going 5 sets with Zverev in Australia last year. And of course, where did Zverev get to in that tournament? I think semis. He lost to Medvedev in the semis, right? Yeah. But yeah, Norrie going 5. That was a sort of a different moment in Norrie's career where we thought he could potentially push these kind of players. But I mean, both these players on clay, I know Norrie has won some 500s, but is this the game though? 15-30.
On this, John, I gotta leave you to enjoy the rest of this match. Just want to say, as always, thanks for having me on. Would love to do another 1 or 2 of these during the tournament with you. It's always a pleasure. And I got to tell you, I think the most electric 2-game stretch is where we literally didn't say a single thing for some 10 minutes. That was art. I was doing my best, but I could tell that you've got, big J journalism credentials in moments like that. This is flowing out of you so naturally that you have just seen so much of it over the years that it's apparent. And it was a ton of fun.
Thanks very much, Zach. Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Okay, do make sure you check out Zach's Triangle Tennis Podcast. I'm going to check it now. I think it's called the Triangle Tennis Podcast. With Zach and friends. Yes, I can see it now. Yeah, Triangle Tennis Podcast. So do check that out. I can even probably post a link to the Spotify anyway in the live chat. I've got it up here on Spotify. I know it's on YouTube as well. So do check out Zach's YouTube chat. Spotify, YouTube, all the rest of it. Cam Norrie here with a game point, 40-30. We will stay live to the conclusion of this match, so don't go anywhere. Oh, look at that backhand from Norrie. Oh, but don't look at that one that's gone out. Deuce. Often known as the lungs is Cam Norrie due to his incredible levels of endurance. Looking at Daniel Medvedev's coach there in the shades despite the clouds. Daniel Medvedev, this is a great point. Which way is it going to go? It's going to go the way of Cam Norrie, much to his delight. The crowd appreciating that one. And we have a game point once more for the Brit. Cam Norrie gets the hold for 6-5. Oh, okay, so he's actually literally got large lungs. Okay. But his fitness, I think, is certainly a strength of his. Either way, Daniel Medvedev will have to serve to stay in the match. Now, this is probably a situation that Daniel would have taken when he was down 2-0. What is Daniel thinking right now? He's thinking to himself, I'm never going to win a French Open. I'm probably not even going deep at this particular tournament. Should I? Do I need to dig deep right now for this place in the next round? Is it worth it? I think he is going to try and dig deep. So I'm not saying he's going to give up the ghost, especially as it's just 5-6 and it's one hold and then you're in a deciding set tiebreak. And we are here for the deciding set tiebreak, I think, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you just tuning in, do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Yeah, 0-0, Jake. And also, Jake, setting up a lovely second round clash with Sofia Kenin, two, of course, Australian Open winners. They're going up head-to-head, and I've got Kenin winning that one. Sorry. Second serve here from Medvedev. Return on the backhand side from Cam. Now on the forehand of Cam. Forehand to the backhand of Cam Norrie, because Cam Norrie, of course, is a lefty. Talking to lefties, learner Tien is out after a straight sets loss to Alexander Zverev earlier today. And that's a nice bit of shape there on that forehand from Daniel Medvedev. Not very often you say that about the Russian. 15-love. Do stay tuned because in a couple of hours we will have Hubert Hurkacz against João Fonseca. Live watch along. And then after that we will have last ball drops. Look forward to seeing you for both of those. Backhand into the net from Cam Norrie. 30-love Daniel Medvedev. Well, this is certainly providing us with the drama that the Zverev-Tien match lacked. Cam Norrie, by the way, getting 73% of his first serves in this fifth set, whereas Medvedev is less than 50. Hi, K-Rob. Do hit the like button, K-Rob. And also, if you are new to the channel, please do hit subscribe. Subscribe button is just below where I am. 30-15. Yes, I got you. I got you. Down the tee, backhand return from Cam Norrie. Forehand to the backhand, of course. Going cross-court means a forehand to backhand dynamic because of the leftiness of Cam. Daniel changing it up, but he's gone long. 30 all. The umpire gesticulates just how far he has gone long. And Daniel Medvedev is 2 points from defeat. When he was down 2-0, though, he would have probably felt much closer to that defeat. But Medvedev not quite on the brink, but certainly teetering. He's got a short ball that he punishes there with a drive volley. That was nerves of steel there from Daniel, and he's got a game point. Yeah, we've got Brenner, Mario, and Carson set to bring us the João Fonseca watch along against Hubert Hurkacz. Medvedev on the run. Norrie really pushing him here, and he's pushed him to the loss of that point, and we're at deuce. Some Cam Norrie fans there in the crowd. Yeah, Brenner is going to be along for the Fonseca. Hurkacz match. Medvedev down the tee, forehand return, forehand from Daniel is into the net. We've got match point. We've got match point, ladies and gentlemen. 3 hours, 52 minutes on the clock. Match point, Cam Norrie. Just after 3 o'clock local time, Daniil Medvedev to serve. He'll be desperate to get a first serve in, which has evaded him so often in this set. He's gone long on the first serve, so it's a second serve for Cam Norrie to look at. Forehand return. Forehand for Medvedev. Forehand, Norrie's on the attack, but Medvedev is going to fend it off. Pushed out wide, Medvedev now. Norrie still pushing his opponent around. Medvedev backhand. Oh, that was close. Net clearance there. Medvedev, can he save this match point? Wow, this is turning into a bit of an epic. Drop shot from Medvedev. Has it landed in? Yes, it has. Medvedev, though, is going to push that forehand long. And Cam Norrie throws his racket into the air in elation and wins in 5 sets against Daniil Medvedev. Medvedev, even on that match point, wasn't quite an open court. Had a bit to do on the forehand there, but probably should have done better. Should have landed it in. And this clay court season for Daniil Medvedev, unlike the clay court season of 2023 when he won Rome, was very much a clay court season to forget. Norrie gets the job done in 5. Was a real battle for the Brit, having won the first 2 sets, but then had to fend off a comeback from Daniil that included 5-love. Daniil was up in that 4th set, and when he does eventually seal the deal 6-1, you're thinking, well, this is only going one way. But Norrie regrouped to win that 5th set. I've got a voice message from James. Oh, my goodness me.
Let's go, Norrie. Let's go.
Oh, no. Just when I'm very pleased for Cam and that win, it's at moments like that that I then think, oh, no. Anyway, good for Cam. Not so good for Daniil. We'll stay live for a few more minutes. I want to see what other matches are going down and scorelines. We're also going to get Cam Norrie to speak here.
Congratulations, Cameron. What a fight today, what a victory for you. Can you tell us what was in your mind during this match point?
Oh, not a lot, to be honest. It was an incredible atmosphere, and yeah, thank you to everyone for supporting me there. And
Apparently, Norrie tried an underarm serve that fouled badly in the 5th set.
Just start a lot of energy and managed to get over the line. And I think it was a little bit tentative, but honestly, it was a crazy match, and this seat's so tough to beat. I think I deserve a diploma for beating her. She's got me the last 4 or 5 times, so I'm unreal match.
Of course, they played each other in Rome recently, with Medvedev winning comfortably in straight sets. And he was trailing 4-0 in the head-to-head until today.
What happened in the 3rd and in the 4th set?
Yeah, he raised his level and I actually got my intensity and I was not able to hang with him. But I was able to find some energy in that 5th set, and I was just moving really well. And I don't really remember too much of it than being 5-4 down and suddenly winning the match is crazy. So it was an amazing atmosphere, and obviously managed to get through the first round and beating Daniil, and I just really enjoyed the match start to finish. It was incredible tennis from both, and like I said, it was an amazing win for me. So it was so much fun.
You had a lot of success on clay. Last week, you were in Geneva. You played the semi-final against Novak Djokovic.
Yeah, he got to the semis in Geneva. That's a point.
I've been getting better and better week by week, and I think it was the perfect preparation for me. Playing lots of matches last week and finishing the match, playing matches with Novak, and it was such high level, and I felt really prepared to play. So it's been good support from my team. You know, we've been building week by week. We've still got
Good point, Dave.
It's nice for my parents to come and enjoy the match and enjoy the win today. So it's nice to play well in front of them.
There you go. There you go. Wow, Daniel Medvedev was serving for the match as well. I wasn't aware of that. At 5-4. Anyway, it is Cam Norrie getting his first win in his career over Daniel Medvedev. So, that is that. Let's, before we leave, let's have a quick look around the grounds to see what some of the scores are and have been going on elsewhere. Let's get it up for you. Okay. Avanesian is out in straight sets to Kalinina. Tienne winning 6-3, 6-1 over Grasheva. Baptista winning in 3 sets, coming from a set down over Haddad Maia. Really disappointing loss for the Brazilian after she showed some signs of returning to form of late. Vondrousova, a former French Open finalist, is into the second round, where she will face the winner of Frech and Jabeur. Of course, if Jabeur was to win, that would be a repeat of the 2023 Wimbledon final. Mira Andreeva safely through as well over the Spaniard Buxa. Hibino winning the all-Japanese affair, 6-1, 7-5 over Ushijima. Azarenka setting up that all-Australian Open winners second round with Sofia Kenin. She double-bageled the Belgian Wickmeyer earlier. As I mentioned, Avanesian, do check out our interview with Avanesian on the show from a couple of years ago, but I think it's still as relevant today as it was then. She lost, though, 6-1, 6-2 to the Ukrainian Kalinina. Kalinina, of course, having a really good run in Roma a couple of years ago, but not shown much signs of life since. Paquet is up a set, albeit she's down a break in the second over the Czech Valentova. And Goff is safely through, winning 6-2, 6-2 over Gadetsky. Do let me know if you think Goff is on for a title-winning run this year. Maria Sakkari is down a double break already on the French woman, Jacquemont. And Kruger is up a set and a break on friend of the show, Susan Lehmans. Matches still to come and potentially look forward to include Todoni against Pagula, Volinets against Garland, and Mukova against Parks, among others. Those are some of the women's matches still to come. Over on the men's side, what has been happening today? Well, we've just seen a couple of matches come to their conclusion. Zverev winning in straight sets, probably quite predictably over Lerner Tien. Didn't get broken all match, the German. Cam Norrie winning in 5 sets over Daniel Medvedev. What an epic that was. Daniel was down 2 sets to love, but did find himself fighting back, so much so that he was serving for the match at 5-4. Wasn't able to get over the line. Norrie, though, winning the last 3 games in a row. What an epic comeback. And that's Cam's first ever win over Daniel Medvedev. So that's 4-1 there head-to-head. Yeah, Daniel Medvedev will be lamenting some of the breakpoint opportunities that he had in that match, winning just 6 from 15. Daniel Medvedev producing 67 winners across the match, but it was 69 unforced errors from the Russian. Just 1 ace off the racket of Cam Norrie across 5 sets. 16 for Daniel Medvedev. That's where I've really plucked that number from. But anyway, most important statistic of all is that the unseeded Cam Norrie in 3 hours and 53 minutes has knocked out the 11th seed Daniel Medvedev in the first round in 5 sets. De Jong is down 2 sets to love on the Italian Passaro. Cam Norrie, by the way, is going to be playing Gomez in the next round after Gomez beat Kovacevic in 4 sets. That's in the same section of the draw as Fernley and Humbert. So one of Cam Norrie, Gomez, Fernley, and Humbert is going to be in the French Open 4th round. Many of you might go, well, Humbert's seeded 22 and, you know, been in Masters 1000 finals, etc. Yeah, but clay is not his domain. There's also an interview on our channel with Humbert, so please do check that out. I'm sure if you Google Humbert. Dimitrov retired against Ethan Quinn, and he was up 2 sets to love. Dimitrov is having a rotten spell at the moment, both in terms of injuries and form, and he's out. So the 16 seed is also out. Bublik winning in straight sets, by the way, today, 6-2, 6-4, 6-4 over Duckworth. De Minaur also winning in straight sets against Zverev, but Zverev was up 5-3 in the third set, so Zverev will be disappointed not to at least push that to 4. De Minaur ultimately emerging there 6-3, 6-4, 7-6. We've just been speaking in depth about Cam Norrie's 5-set win over Daniel Medvedev. Gomez, as I highlighted before, is through in 4 sets over Kovacevic. Shevchenko, nice straight sets win for him over Lajovic. Mensik is up a set on Muller, and they're on serve in the second set. Hubert and Bonzi are just getting underway in the all-French affair on court 13. That should be quite the atmosphere. Martua and Walton are also on serve, in the first set. And matches about to get underway include McDonald against Djokovic on Philippe Chatrier, Rublev against Harris over on court number 7, and Enrique Rocha of Portugal making his Grand Slam debut on court number 4 against Basilashvili. Okay, that has brought you up to date with all things tennis. Oh no, poor Dimmy indeed. I went for Mensik, Jake, in my prediction. That was how I saw that one going. Shall we have a quick look at the French Open second round, actually, before... yeah, let's do that. French Open second round before we close. And I'm going to just go for some predictions for you. Just outright winners. And we'll do that. Okay. Some of these will be easier to call than others. Here we go. Tell you what, Lehechka Davidsvikina is not easy to call. Sinner Gasquet, Sinner's winning that one, just no doubt about it. That's a kind of 99-1 percentage chance, and the 1% for Gasquet is an injury to Sinner. Lehecka Davidsvikina. I'm going to go Lehecka, just because I don't trust Davidsvikina in big moments, in big tournaments. Sorry, Alejandro. Yeah. Fils over Munar. De Minaur over Bublik. Shevchenko over Quinn. Griekspoor over Diallo. Norrie over Gomez, but yeah. Fernley, I'll go for him over Humbert. Shapo over Misalic. Musetti over Galan. Navoni over Opelka. Navoni Musetti round 3 would be nice. Kecmanovic over Hallis. Rune over Nava. But, yeah. I'll go PCB over Tiafo, but that doesn't inspire me. Let's go Korda over Brooksby. Medjedovic over Cerundolo. But actually, that could be... No, I'm going to go Juan Manuel. I'm going to go Juan Manuel Cerundolo. Sorry. Over Medjedovic. Altmaier over Kopriva. Rude over Borges. Tabilo over Popperin, if Tabilo's healthy. Paul over Fucsovic. Hachanov over Offner. But I think that's a repeat of a recent match where Offner won. Maybe in Geneva. Oh, Gaston has withdrawn. Oh. So Shelton's in round 3. Wow, I didn't know that. I'm going to put that out there to the Twitter masses. So if I'm right, then there is just one player both sides of the sport who is closer to the French Open title than all others. Just one player is already in round 3, and the tournament is barely 48 hours old. Okay. So yeah, Gaston's withdrawn. Shelton through to round 3. There we go. Okay. So that Shelton being Gaston, I would have gone Shelton, but anyway, not going to take the court. Gigante against Tsitsipas. I'm going to go Tsitsipas. And maybe Tsitsipas might well now fancy his chances of reaching the 4th round. And we'll go Alcaraz over Madasham, but maybe dropping a set. And we'll go for... Ooh, this is a tough one. Let's go Umpechi Pericard over Jumur. Jumur to get upset by the French crowd. And so Umpechi Pericard up against Alcaraz potentially in round 3. Over to the women's side. I will come to the live chat. So do disagree with me on any of these predictions if you wish. Sabalenka to beat Teichmann. Danilovic to beat Collins, perhaps also in another epic, just like they had 2 epics on the clay last year. Both 3-setters. The Madrid affair went Collins' way, and the French Open match went the way of Danilovic. We'll go Towson over Rus. We'll go Anisimova over Golubic. We'll go Schneider over Yastremska, but that all depends perhaps on what Ukrainian turns up. We'll go for Samsonova over Homero Gormaz. We'll go for Mboko over Lise. Mboko is pulling up trees, is the Canadian qualifier. We'll go Zheng over Arango. Paulini over Tomjanovic. Potapova over Starabdubtseva. Vekic over Peras. Svitolina over Bondar. Rybakina over Jovic. Ostapenko over Dollarhide. That would be great. Ostapenko, Rybakina, round 3. Yes, please. I see Jabeur about to take the court against Madalena Frech. Balek over Christian and Swiatek over Raducanu. Kazatkina over Jean, but I'm not inspired by either player there. Sorry, Jean fans, i.e. Jake. Badosa over Rusa. Keys over Bolter. Kenin over Azarenka. Baptista over Ibino. Buzas Manero over Montgomery. Krejcikova over Kudermetova. But, I mean, Krejcikova's just barely played. Alexandrova over Cocciaretto. And that is it. Okay. Let's come back to the live chat before we close off. Expectations for Swiatek Raducanu. Of course, Swiatek going to win. What are your expectations? How close can Emma keep it, mate? Listen, first of all, I want to bring your attention to our preview video that we have out there, which I think is a must watch. I'll tell you why. It's actually quite unique in so many ways. I'm going to show you this preview video that I have. I think it's one of the best preview videos we've curated on Talking Tennis. We have 5 different opinions from 5 different people. There it is, posted for you in the live chat. That Raducanu Swiatek preview is there. We've got the opinions of myself, Nick, Damien, Carson, and Fergus, which is pretty unusual to have 5 so-called experts, armchair viewers, perhaps, Jake, on that particular encounter. But it's also unique because we've got some words from Iga Swiatek herself on some of the problems that Emma Raducanu poses, even on a clay court. Iga elaborates on the spot serving abilities of Emma Raducanu, and even a bit of a surprise that she encountered in Stuttgart 2024 on the clay of what Emma can produce on the forehand side. So please do check out that video. It begins, I think, with the thoughts of Damien, Carson, and Fergus. You also get myself and Nick around about midway through the video sharing our thoughts. And then at the end, you get Iga Swiatek talking about the matchup itself with Emma Raducanu. Some really interesting insights there. So one of our best preview videos for sure. Some of you in the live chat might be going, our preview videos are pretty lame, so maybe not the bar is too high. I think there's been some good ones. But anyway, do check out that and let me know what you think of that and comment on the video itself as well. But I can still answer your question very briefly, Jake. A little bit like Fergus, I don't think it'll be the comfortable win that Iga experienced earlier on this year in Australia. But I do see Iga prevailing in straight sets. But Iga, Emma, I just want to say something. This has been Emma's best clay court season without a shadow of a doubt. And I think some of the things are there to be seen, not just the results, but I can see her moving a little bit better on this surface. I can see her playing with a little bit more margin, a little bit less aggressively on this surface than she might do on a hard or grass court, which we may well be reaping the benefits for, certainly in terms of getting some solidity in terms of her results. And also the movement is a little bit better, and the way she's defending now is probably the best of her career. All of that points to a slightly better result for Emma than some previous losses, but maybe we'll get a loss similar to the one that she had in Stuttgart, which I think was 7-6, 6-3. Okay, Dave here saying, Keys look good. Her husband coach was trying very hard to get her to stop using the drop shot. I saw some drop shot winners in her last, sure enough, I saw to stop using it. Oh, start using it. Sorry, to start using it. I misread that. Okay, interesting point there. Thanks for that, Dave, for sure. When Betsy Perricard is playing well, it's scary. Yes, but slightly less so on Parisian clay. I think you can just get at that serve a bit more. But I think against Jumeau, he's got a decent chance. Think you're going to go for Brooksby, are you, over quarter? Yeah, it was a tricky one. There's some that I had conviction on, and they're the ones that I didn't spend a lot of time on. But there are others I was more unsure about. And yeah, it's a nice draw for both of them in a way, to draw each other in the second round, to have a chance of getting to the third. I see Jabeur warming up for her match against Fritz. Remember, if Jabeur wins, she'll set up a repeat of the 2023 Wimbledon final with a match against Vondrousova. Of course, Vondrousova has made the French Open final here in the past. Anyway, let's go, Benz, to the third round. Indeed it is. And here's some more comments from Jake as well on the Jumeau and Betsy Perricard. Going to be another Zverev team matchup. Even on slow clay, the serving gap too big, to be honest. I don't think Jumeau will be able to get him in cat and mouse points enough. And I also think Jumeau might let the crowd get under his skin. He is a sensitive boy, is Mr. Jumeau. Oh, I'm thinking 75-25. Listen, you and I both know the limitations of Vika on this surface, but we also know where Vika's at in her career right now. She's not had that many wins this year. And Kenin is, former French Open finalist here, but I also seen some stuff from Kenin over the last 12 months to suggest that she's quite solid and also can have some decent runs. I don't think she'll ever win another Grand Slam in her career. Obviously, having won the Australian Open. I don't even probably think she'll be in another French Open final. But when I look at a draw, and I see Kenin playing, for example, let's get to Kenin's little section of the draw, because I think I have her getting to the third round. Is she in the same section as Iga? Not sure. I'm just going to have a quick look at this now. Let's share this with you on the screen. No, she's not in the same section as Iga. So that's good news that she's not going to be playing Iga in the third round. Yeah, of course you've got Rebecca and yeah. Where are you, Kenin against? Because I think I've got Kenin. I think before the tournament started had her getting to round 3, but I'm just trying to figure out who she's due to play in round 3. Why can't I find? I'm sure you guys are screaming at the screen going, "Oh, you just passed her." Yeah, I may well have done. I must have passed it quite some time ago. There we go. This is her section. Okay. Is it wild to suggest a round 4 for Kenin? Kenin Keys, for me, would be the likely third rounder. I would say if you gave me odds of 50-50 on a Kenin Keys, I would take that. I think it's a 65% chance that we get Kenin versus Keys, because I see Keys and Kenin both being warm favourites in their second round clash. And Kenin could beat Keys for sure. And then what's this? What's this section then for Keys and Kenin? Let's have a look at the. Well, Kenin quarterfinal. Is it wild? Kenin in the quarterfinal from that group. Baptiste. It's an interesting group. One of these will be in the quarterfinal. Keys, of course, is chasing the calendar slam, as we've kind of joked about, but she's the only person on the women's tour walking that tightrope. I will just come back to some of your comments before bringing this up. Simply, what are you putting your money? Oh, I've gone Mensik in that one, but I think I already answered that one. Yeah, I know, Paul Dimitrov, it sucks. Any other questions from a while ago? Indeed. Okay. I think we do know what you mean. But anyway, listen, big thanks for all of you tuning in today. Please do hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new. We will have João Fonseca playing against Hubert Hurkacz coming up on the channel later on this afternoon. So please do tune in for that. As you can see, that's there. I will even share that with you there like so. And so please do check us out for that upcoming match. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.